30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Simple question does not have a simple answer. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. The game of the season, Perloff, because of how similar these two quarterbacks are in terms of what's at stake, how much pressure, the matchups they've had in the past.
Yeah, I could buy that, definitely. Obviously, the winner will probably play the Chiefs, and that will also be the game of the year. But this is unique because these two guys are pitted against each other with legacy on the line.
Absolutely. Not just MVP for this year on the line, although that's technically already been decided. We just have no idea who the voters picked. Kind of leans a little towards Lamar. I think he closed the gap on Josh over the last month. But there's a couple ways you can slice this. Mm-hmm. The simplest question, who's the better quarterback? Good luck to you on that. I mean, that's such a beauty in the eye of the beholder type thing, but we can talk about it. And then the question is, who do you want in this game? And, if you're asking me the latter question, which is who do you want in this game? This is where I can make the case for my guy.
Who do you want?
Who do you want in this game?
Who do you think will win? Just because we all know who you want.
Okay, well,
you want the Buffalo Bills to win.
I want the Buffalo Bills. I live and die with this team. You guys know I'm from upstate New York. Okay, all of that. But this is where I can make the best case for Josh Allen. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. Am I talking myself into this? Yeah, a little bit, because you'd be crazy to just say, oh, it's going to be a landslide one way or the other. In fact, if I really sit down and really think about it, I go back to week 4, Sunday Night Football, whole entire NFL world watching, and the Bills got smoked. Now, both of these teams are different from where they were in week 4.
Yeah, there was no Matt Milano in that game. It doesn't even count.
Yeah, if you don't have your linebackers, what are you doing against a run game?
They were missing everybody in that game. Right?
Okay, but also, to be fair to the Ravens, they are much different than week 4. Their defense was, what do the kids say? Suspect. Now their defense has really come. They are a much more round, complete team. The only thing is Zay Flowers' injury situation, is still to be determined, although it seems to be he's trending towards playing. I don't know how much I should glean from week 4. I've seen Derrick Henry run over the Bills for years, whether it was the Titans or this year against Baltimore. But if we're keeping it just a quarterback conversation, how Josh Allen gets the nod is he is the better postseason quarterback, hands down. He has played some of his best games in the postseason. Now, have they won all these games? He's 6-5 in playoff games, while Lamar is 3-4. So some of the games they've lost. In some of the games, it hasn't been perfect, but he has played much better than Lamar Jackson on the whole in playoff games. That's where Josh Allen gets the nod for this game.
Okay, well, there's two debates here. Who's the better quarterback overall, or who's the better quarterback in this game? Because this game, to me, is not about who's a better quarterback. It's about 8 degrees, and that favors Josh Allen.
8 degrees the temperature.
8 degree high. Or actually 8 degree low. But
11 degree low, 19 degree high.
Oh, okay. I saw 8. It might go even lower. But
the game kicks off at 6:30. That's not the high. That's when you dip into the low.
I think that is going to gut the Ravens' offense. Because they're not just Derrick Henry. They need that. They need the passing game as like the explosive plays. And I just don't see, how are you going to throw in 8 degrees? Is Lamar's going to drop back and throw a 50, that Bateman pass, that deep corner? That's just not going to happen. So I feel like Josh Allen, the Bills are so much less reliant on Josh Allen to actually do anything. Like they, against the Broncos, like they really have not used Josh Allen. Like his throwing is down, 20% this year? So they are much better suited for conservative game. But I think ultimately, legacy-wise, I think Lamar Jackson is going to go down as a better quarterback. And I'll tell you why.
The MVPs?
The MVPs, but also, too, I think at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson is such like the superpower of running. They're basically the same quarterback, except Lamar Jackson's superpower is a little better than Josh Allen's superpower. Like he is, even this year, he is breaking he is the most prolific running quarterback by so far that I think history will judge that as a special power, and I think he'll get higher on the list. Unless Josh Allen wins a Super Bowl this year, then the Super Bowls might mess it up. But say they're at the same number of Super Bowls when it's all said and done, I think Lamar is higher on the list of quarterbacks.
Listen, I think the postseason awards are what going to do it. Or what you're playing in the same era, you're playing in the same conference. Like things are, all things being equal, which is, I guess, it's still a subjective award. But all things being equal, Lamar keeps winning these MVPs and Josh does not. But here's where I'll kind of disagree with that. You're saying Lamar's superpower is better than Josh's superpower, which is running the ball.
Yeah. Josh has that superpower too.
They run so differently, though. Lamar Jackson doesn't lower the shoulder and create contact on the sideline with linebackers to get another 5 yards. Lamar isn't doing, he's more elusive. It's not, listen, it's still tough. It's impossible to bring down. It's amazing. But I don't know if you can necessarily say Lamar's is better. It's just different.
How can you not say Lamar Jackson's running game is better than Josh Allen's? As good as Josh Allen's.
Because Josh Allen can take contact like Lamar can. It's very different. Lamar is more entertaining as a runner, I guess I would say. Or maybe, again, I'll say more elusive. But if you're asking about who's more effective as a runner, I think Josh is just as effective. He runs like a bowling ball. Lamar Jackson runs like a ping pong ball.
Yeah, I think the numbers just show Lamar Jackson is definitely more effective. Like Lamar is basically he's like one of the 4 or 5 most effective runners in the entire NFL. Now Josh will get every first down. It's amazing.
That's what I'm saying. You went third and short or third and medium. What do you think's happening?
Remember last year's playoff against the Texans? Like Lamar will break it off, and he was hurt last year. This year he's way healthier. I think. Well, actually, he looked a little banged up at the end of the last game, but I think he'll run for 100 yards at a big game. Josh is not going to do that. And that might be choice.
Dirty yards versus Lamar sometimes gets the dirty ones, but it's not like Josh. So,
but Lamar's, it's funny you say that. Like Lamar is the most effective running quarterback in the NFL history by 100 miles.
Okay,
by 100 miles.
But I'm just saying we're getting bogged down in this one point.
Yeah.
I'm saying Josh's running style is so much different than Lamar, and I don't know how you want to say effective. I mean, it is effective. He keeps drives alive. And to be fair, he wasn't even really doing that much against the Broncos, which maybe the Broncos gave a little blueprint, a tiny bit, maybe to the Ravens. But I think Josh's running style, being that punishing running style, I would say is also a superpower. Yeah. I think it's on par. But yes.
But I think legacy-wise, though, the running is really what's going to make Lamar top 5 on the all-time quarterback list if he continues like this.
Totally. 855-212-4227. If you're asking the quarterback I want in this game, I'm going with my guy, Josh Allen. And if you're asking me the better quarterback overall, the MVPs, and it's going to be the Super Bowls that determine it. Now, the funny, interesting part of this is what if Mahomes keeps Jackson and Allen from none of them win Super Bowls? Like, what if Mahomes really does this Michael Jordan type thing?
Yeah, and they're Barkley and Patrick Ewing.
And then you just duke it out to the end of time.
I just think that's the scenario I'm playing out of my head where the MVPs and the overall stats are going to favor Lamar slightly. Josh needs a Super Bowl especially because the Bills, I mean, the funny thing is you're talking about the Bills specifically de-emphasized Josh Allen's role this year. That is not saying to me he is great. It's saying okay, we got to have him throwing less so we can avoid turnovers.
Yeah.
And that was
which worked.
Which, by the way, Maggie, you sat here on this show for 3 years and said, would you stop making Josh Allen throw the ball all the time?
Well, especially because he had a tendency to force it to one guy.
Yeah.
That was not good because, defense picked up on that a little bit.
Yeah, it might not have been his fault. I mean, Diggs might have been complaining so much in the locker room that he had to.
just to maintain peace. I guess the other part of this is, yes, you say Josh Allen's been de-emphasized. I don't love the way that sounds because it's almost like he didn't turn into Trent Dilfer. It didn't all of a sudden become, oh my gosh, it's the everybody but Josh show. What he did is they actually oddly put more on his shoulders by taking away his number one receiving threat. Because you have to, first of all, have the discipline to keep running the ball. That's number one, which I don't think is a small thing. 2, you have no idea for the Bills where the ball's going. And so for Josh, that's really it almost kind of made it like this, like what's going to happen. It's like a roulette almost, right? Based on the game plan. And I think in some ways they forced him to be a smarter quarterback. And he so far has risen to the challenge. The fact that the fumbles are basically, knock on wood, the fumbles are almost gone. The fact that the sacks are down. The fact that the turnovers are all down. Now, Lamar did too, but that for Josh Allen was such a level of growth.
But why, I don't understand, like, why is that Josh Allen? He's handing the ball off more. You're going to get sacked less when you drop back less.
Okay, and all of that, though, matters, right? Because he's also been more efficient as a passer than he's ever been. They are not doing the deep bombs all the time on first down and on second down that end up putting them in these third and long situations. It's a totally different offense.
Also,
totally different.
Totally different on the whole, because also their schedule was so ridiculous. I mean, they had
the division wrapped up at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the AFC East is such a joke. I mean, they did the old school Josh Allen showed up in those two games where they were in the 40s against
Chiefs and the Lions.
Yeah, and by the way, way more entertaining. I really enjoyed that game where they're like, all right, Josh, remember everything we've been doing this year, throw it out, go back to 2023 and sling it. And he was great. So the thing about this game on Sunday is they're going to be so conservative. Like the Buffalo Bills are not going to want to pass the ball at all. They're going to want to chew up as much clock to keep the ball out of Derrick Henry's hands. So the funny thing is they don't want Josh Allen to pass the ball a lot.
You do what you do to win the game. Like the Bills have been going for style points for the 5 years, win the game. And if that is, you're so right about both of these teams, I think are going to try to do the exact same thing to each other. I'm like, how many possessions are going to be in this game? 8? I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens feel a little more explosive than the Bills. Like they rely.
I think they're just going to go Henry and Lamar are just going to run this whole game.
But I mean, this year though, I'm saying on the season, they've been much more explosive. I think they're the number one offense in the league. Like they have big plays. The Bills do not really. The funny thing too is like the Bills know their receiving core is not great. I mean, so if you get into a shootout, that would probably favor the Ravens. I think
depends. Is Zay Flowers playing?
Even so, I just feel like the Bills want a more conservative game and the Ravens want more of a track meet. Especially if you get the defense a little tired and they're running after Derrick Henry. I think they want to open it up. The Bills are just like, let's slow this down. I'm going under on that game, especially because it's 8 degrees, which is kind of annoying because I think the total is going down because of that.
I believe the last total I thought was 50.5.
Yeah, I think it was
high.
51.5. I want to jump on that because if it's really, really, I mean, to say weather isn't going to affect this game would be crazy to me. Remember when Aaron Rodgers had that night game against San Francisco? Mm-hmm. It's a big deal. Yeah. It's a big deal. Overall, I take Lamar on Sunday night. I'd almost take neither. Like we should be really debating
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, we should really be debating who's better, James Cook or Derrick Henry. But I think at the end of the day, when it's all done, Lamar Jackson's going to be higher on the list unless Josh Allen has more Super Bowls. If they were even on Super Bowls, I think Lamar gets a little higher on the list. And I think you kind of nailed it. Those MVPs are a pretty big deal.
Definitely. 855-212-4227. Okay. The one thing, though, it's funny. Yes, the MVPs are a big deal. I'm like, but Peyton Manning had so many more than Tom Brady, but Tom just blew him out of the water with Super Bowls.
Yeah,
would that actually be a closer debate if Brady didn't have 7?
Well, the funny thing is, if Lamar gets his 3rd MVP this year and doesn't have a Super Bowl, he's going to open himself up for criticism. Like, why does this guy keep winning the MVP? It almost makes him look worse for his postseason failures, where Josh is sort of skating. I don't think Josh gets killed for postseason failures because you pointed out he plays really well in the postseason.
Yeah, it's usually not his fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 212-4227. Now, there's been moments, but it's usually not his fault. Okay, phones early, often. Brad, Alabama. Brad, you see this as more Lamar Jackson's world.
Well, Lamar's got Derrick Henry. I know we're talking quarterbacks, but I don't even know how you would take Allen over Lamar for MVP when, Lamar threw for 41-4 and dropped another 915 yards. I understand Allen's good, but he's turnover prone. He does have it down this year, but who wants to hit a 253-pound Derrick Henry in 8-degree weather all day?
Yeah, that's two different conversations. One's the MVP conversation for regular season. The other one is this game, Brad. They're both relevant.
By the way, who wants to hit a 260-pound Josh Allen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
I would. If I was a defender,
sure.
I'm serious. Like, somebody should take a shot at that guy. I was watching the whole wild card round. I'm like, Buddy Ryan, who's passed, would be so upset that nobody's hitting these quarterbacks. Why the Steelers didn't take shots at Lamar? I know Lamar sneaks out of bounds. Like, you got to hit the quarterback. You got to hit Josh Allen. It's crazy to me that they don't like try and like announce their presence to him.
Well, I mean, there's a couple things there. First of all, they might, but there's a couple things. First of all, you got to catch him to hit him.
Catch him to hit him. He's 6'7", 260. You can't miss him. He's like a cruise ship going down the line.
He jumps over people.
Okay.
Like you have to catch him to hit him because he also is not slow and he's knock on wood has avoided some big hits. And he's so durable. And the other part too, and they finally are starting to get their flowers a little bit. We'll see how they do against the Ravens. Is the offensive line is good for the Bills. So,
well, I mean, he still runs all the time. He ran 8 times. He ran 6 times in the first half the other day. I think
Lamar should be a little more worried about that. Lamar ran 13 times against the Steelers, and he took some hits. He gets
such a waste.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, if you're wondering if Matt Milano is going to put his body on the line to try to put a big hit on Lamar Jackson, may I present 9 years of evidence that he's going to?
He ran 15 times against the Steelers.
I'm sorry.
Can I give you the blueprint, which may or may not work? Do you guys remember after Cam Newton got to the Super Bowl, the first game of that year, Denver Broncos played them, and the Denver Broncos hit Cam Newton on every single play of the game. They got a couple personal fouls, but it pretty much ended Cam Newton's career because he hurt his shoulder. Like, you have to make him feel. The problem is everybody's defense is so small now because of nickels that they're all afraid of hitting people. It's 8 degrees, so you got to hit Josh Allen on one side and Derrick Henry on the other side.
I mean,
meanwhile, I'm talking tough. I'd probably fake a cold.
I'm going to be honest. Perloff wouldn't sit outside for this game, let alone play in it. You would not sit in the stands outside.
Let alone hit Derrick Henry.
Let alone be anywhere near. I don't even think if they gave you a field pass, I think you'd be like, I'm good. I'm going to sit in the suite.
No, you're absolutely right. I would not be able to do this, but I did grow up rooting for a team that lived to hit people. It
was a different time then, Pearl.
Yes, yeah.
Those 15-yard penalties, man. Those 15-yard penalties are a killer.
Yeah, but if you take your personal foul early and then just keep hitting them, I don't know. I think there's a balance. I do think it matters, the physical presence. And by the way, the Bills are a pretty physical defense now that everyone's healthy.
I know they're small though, but
but they'll play the run tough. This is gonna be very interesting. I feel very good about my pick for this game, which I will reveal later in the week.
855-212-4227. Again, simple question, but not an easy answer. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Who do you want in this game? And ultimately, who do you think is the better quarterback?
How are you wording the poll, EJ, on this one? What's the question?
You're a little bit too old to watch cards, but anyway.
Who's the better quarterback?
See, in some ways, I get that. I think is the question, who do you want in this game?
No. Who's the better quarterback?
All right. Who's the better quarterback?
And then it's like, you're a little bit too old to watch cards, but anyway.
Lamar's loose. I'll give him that. He does seem loose.
But he said his problem is he gets too excited in these big games.
I know. I think he's doing something different here. He's keeping it fun, light. I don't know. There's enough pressure on these dudes.
Gosh, I would not want to deal with this weather. It's such a bummer. Baltimore screwed this up. Like, you can't lose early in the season. The Raiders, they need this game in Baltimore. That is where, the regular season made such a huge difference because the Eagles have a huge advantage at the Link, and the Bills, they're undefeated at home this year. The home is good.
Home is good.
It hasn't always been that way, right?
No, they had to retool their team because they lost to the Bengals a couple of years ago in the playoffs because they had no running attack, and the Bengals did. 855-212-4227. Okay, let's get it going with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We've got more Deion Sanders Cowboys news for you. The odds-on favorite to become the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys is prime time. We've got college football for you today. There's a national championship on Monday. And so much more NFL. It's M&P.
Maggie, I woke up this morning with a big W. Philip Gustafsson had 31 goalie saves and more or less was 26.5 on Prize Picks, the best way to play daily fantasy. Now, I'm not totally sure what sport this was. It was Minnesota versus Edmonton. I'm assuming he's a goalie. But this is the best time. This is the best time. You still have football, and you have all these other sports. There's so many fun sports to play on here. You have over 10 million members, billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy accessible to everyone. So easy to use. You pick 2 or more players across any sport, and I mean any sport. Pick more or less on their projection, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money.
How about golf? Back on Prize Picks. Phenomenal. We love it. Prize Picks accepts all major credit cards, and they are available in 40 or more states, including California and Texas. I've been plotting out my Prize Picks for the weekend all week long. You can come along and play with us. We are obsessed. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code M&P. Get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code M&P on Prize Picks. Get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P. You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff show. Started the show with the debate: who's better, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen?
I'll vote on that from all my burner accounts.
Well, I think this obviously is a team game. So, and I'm very much about the team. I'm not about individuals.
Yeah, sure.
I'm thinking legacy-wise, unless Josh Allen gets a Super Bowl edge, everything being equal, Lamar Jackson's going to go down as the greater quarterback. And part of the reason is, why do you think people keep voting for Lamar as MVP and not Josh Allen? I thought Josh Allen had the MVP wrapped up, and then I came in one morning and you guys pointed out that the odds shifted dramatically towards Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, because he got first-team All-Pro, and it's the same voters who vote for All-Pro that vote for MVP. So if Lamar won first-team All-Pro and Josh Allen got second-team All-Pro, how do we think people voted for MVP? I think it's because Lamar is literally doing things we've never seen before. Josh Allen is evolving as a quarterback, I do think he is getting much, much better, and the offense is more tailored to a winning style with him, accentuating the positives, keeping him mitigating some risks that seemed unnecessary, playing a better style for the weather, all of that stuff. And I think Josh does he's doing more with less.
Well,
Derrick Henry's going to the Hall of Fame. Zay Flowers is a first-round wide receiver.
Don't talk to me about Ravens receivers. Get out of here.
I get it. He was the first ever Pro Bowl receiver, but this was a team that people said in the offseason that they left Josh Allen with the cupboard bare.
No, it's true.
And look at what he's done.
That's the best thing that ever happened to him. So I just think that at the end of the day, if you're putting that vote in for MVP, and I am not, you're going to look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen went from 4,300 passing yards last year to 3,700 this year. And Lamar Jackson won the MVP, and his numbers increased by 40%. He's much better quarterback than last year. He's a different guy. He's totally figured out Todd Monken's offense. They're totally in sync. So I think it's a matter of judging. Well, if he won MVP last year and he's significantly better, don't you have to give it to him now? Although I think at the end of the day, anyone who votes for Lamar is just looking at the numbers. I would give it to Josh Allen because spread the wealth.
Well, I do. I wonder that it's funny that the voter fatigue has not set in with Lamar. The fact that he has two MVP, is sitting on two, and has never been to a Super Bowl. Obviously, Josh hasn't either. But I think it's funny when we talk about the quarterbacks of this era, I think we're going to talk about Mahomes and then Lamar, Burrow, and Allen all being in the same mix, yet Allen's not going to have nearly the Pro Bowls, he's not going to have nearly the All-Pros, and he's not going to have the MVPs, and he's not going to probably have the Super Bowls, even though we all know what we're watching, which is he's right there with all of those quarterbacks, and there's probably a significant part of our people who are listening to us right now who might take Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you read a quarterback ranking, it could just as easily be Josh Allen, too. But when you said that, you mean Mahomes is on a different
I think so.
tier. But I saw the craziest thing the other day. The 33rd team, which we both follow, it's a consulting company that works with the NFL, and they also have a media website. They had the quarterback rankings, and Patrick Mahomes was number 4 for this year's playoffs. It's insane. But they must have been looking backwards because Mahomes hasn't done much this year. But still, Mahomes is grandfathered into number 1. You're right. The way you described it is perfect. It starts at number 2.
Yeah,
That's where the debate is.
Come on. I think Mahomes has deserved that. And basically, you're just comparing Mahomes versus Mahomes. He's having a down year for him.
No, he's having a down year. I mean, he's not a top half of the NFL quarterback.
Okay, and think of what happened. 15 and what was their record?
Yeah, I know.
15-2.
I know.
And that last game, he didn't play and they didn't try.
Because he's Patrick Mahomes. He's just screwing around this year. He's having fun.
Let's go to... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, please.
Let's go to Wayne, who's in Texas, who wants to weigh in on this question. Who's the better quarterback, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson? Hey, Wayne.
Hey, how y'all doing this morning?
We're fantastic. How you doing?
All right. This is my... And I just want to touch on some key points. I would say Lamar, when you look at the totality of their career, I'm talking about coming in as a rookie and... not just the playoffs, not just the regular season, even though Lamar hasn't had success in the playoffs, which a lot of that wasn't his fault, in all because of the play calling of how it went. But, he's got to take his fair blame. But with the facts that y'all point out, the MVP, the All-Pros, I mean, I would have to go Lamar. I mean, because and then people saying success in the playoffs as far as winning. When have we ever, like, are we giving out a consolation prize? Like, is Jim Kelly considered one of the greatest because he went to 4 straight Super Bowls? I mean, you got to win a Super Bowl. Like, what?
I think Jim Kelly is considered not one of the greatest. Like, he's not Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, but, I mean, he walked into the Hall of Fame.
I mean, but do you hear people just talk about his name? Like, you don't hear much of Jim Kelly, and it's because he didn't win. If he would have won a Super Bowl, you would hear a lot more of him than, because you just barely ever hear anybody talk about him. And I'm just saying he didn't win a Super Bowl. He went to 4 straight.
I get it, but I ask you, like, is that his fault or is that our fault? Because I think we get a little, and I'm not just backing up my guy here. I literally
Sounds like it.
Sully sent me a Jim Kelly signed football that sits behind me. And Wayne, thank you for the call. Is that his fault or our fault? I mean, I've always said I think it's more impressive to go to 4 straight Super Bowls than it is to win one. Just have a one-off win, Joe Flacco. I'm sure a lot of people would probably rather be Joe Flacco maybe than Jim Kelly, but we have this ring-chasing culture where, and I blame Michael Jordan for it, or you can praise Michael Jordan for it, where it's if you didn't win, your career didn't count. And I don't think that's the way people in football look at it. I think that's us. That's the outside.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wayne made a choice right there to call in at 6:30 a.m. Eastern and tell Maggie that Jim Kelly's not one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I kind of
the numbers. Wayne, what are you gonna say? Bruce Smith was one of the greatest defensive ends. I'm not gonna believe that. You can't tell me. I watched it. You did too, Wayne.
No, thank you, Wade. That was pretty funny. But he is totally right. Like if Jim Kelly gets some rings, he might be in the top 8 quarterback conversation. Rings define that position. Okay, not other positions, but specifically that position.
I also think this is a function of a couple things that also happened 30 years ago. We move on. You know, who gets mentioned? Dan Marino had to have all-time amazing numbers that stood out in that era.
Yeah.
But, you know, we probably don't talk about a lot of guys that we should have talked about.
Jim Kelly's numbers are so mediocre, too. I'm just looking at them. He didn't have
Troy
Marino
Aikman's numbers.
Yeah, they were terrible, too.
So it's the era. Like, Manny doesn't think that history started before the year 2000.
Well, if you move
on.
You know, the one guy who did, Favre was outstanding in that era. That's why he won 3 MVPs. But... yeah, we're talking like top 5, 10. You need rings to be in that conversation. He's absolutely right.
I know,
about
but
that.
think about how unfair that is. Because if John Elway didn't rip 2 off at the end of his career, are we not talking about John Elway? And that would be insane.
What? No, it wouldn't. Why would it not be insane? Like
because he went to Super Bowls and lost, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't a great quarterback.
But not top 5. You get in this the rare air. You have to win Super Bowls. I mean, what is the?
You don't even count Peyton Manning's second Super Bowl.
No, I don't think Peyton Manning gets in the top 3 or 4 because of that. I honestly, every list I've ever seen has Brady, Montana, and then there's a little bit of a cliff. I mean, I don't think Peyton Manning's considered a top 3 all-time quarterback.
Ooh,
I disagree.
I love a poll question on that.
Yeah. I see again, and Wayne brings up a good point, and I'm glad he brought it up because it's the rings conversation is probably gonna define this era of quarterbacks. So Mahomes,
every era, it's a position that's defined by championships. That's why Brady's the GOAT, and that's why Patrick Mahomes is coming up fast.
And there's a chance that this era these guys become Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, Karl Malone.
I'm totally ready for that. I understand it. We've been calling Mahomes Jordan for a while.
Yep.
It's just, okay, Joe Burrow made it to the Super Bowl but lost. You put him on a different level just by making it, or do you have to win it? Like we can move the goalposts on this conversation all day.
Joe Burrow's got some weird stuff going on. Like Joe Burrow gets credit for lifting a franchise that has no business being in the Super Bowl, so he gets extra credit for that. Lamar Jackson's taking over probably one of the top 3 or 4 consistent, awesome franchises. Yeah. But Burrow is what
did Josh Allen do for Buffalo?
Yeah. Well,
they were the laughing
stock.
Yeah,
but we just talked about Jim Kelly. I mean, for Burrow is judged very differently. Like Burrow also has this. He had that college
went
championship.
To a Super Bowl with the Bengals.
He's judged differently, and we know it. And also, he was amazing in college. Like Burrow's a different quarterback than Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I honestly don't think he's better than them, but I just think he's like, we have this expression, never bet against Joe Burrow.
Right.
Because he defies odds in a way.
So because Joe Burrow won a college championship, he's now a winner, like he gets the Carmelo Anthony treatment?
He's a Heisman too.
Yeah, but he was like but the other thing about Joe Burrow, he was like an average quarterback who all of a sudden turned into Superman at LSU. Like, and because Joe Brady got there, it was the weirdest thing.
The team also Joe was awesome, and the team was unbelievable.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow went from, I think he had 19 touchdowns a year before to 60. Like, he is
Yeah, if you had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, you would do that too.
He had them a year before.
There's also a thing with Burrow too. I think that he kind of had a John Elway mystique before John Elway won the Super Bowls, where like even though John Elway wasn't a Super Bowl champion, he was considered clutch. Like John Elway had these great drives, he had these great playoff performances. I think Joe Burrow, we kind of look at him similarly, where it's like he doesn't have a Super Bowl, but man, that guy's a dog. Like he's carrying this team. Right. We've seen him take this team to places we never thought they could. They beat people we didn't think they could. Beat Mahomes, beat Josh Allen. I think there's a little kind of pre-John Elway Super Bowl-ness to Joe Burrow.
Where Lamar and Josh Allen have different things going, different sort of narratives going on.
But it just
makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's fair. I just think that that's the reality.
Man, 855-212-4227 rings culture. We'll get into the Cowboys, Deion Sanders stuff in just a moment. Bogusch has headlines for us. What's going on today?
Guys, good morning. Your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Let us stick with Lamar versus Josh here. The QBs don't actually square off face-to-face on Sunday, but Lamar will be in a staring contest with Mother Nature in Buffalo.
I'm trying to win, so it really don't matter. I can't go into a game and be like, man, it's too cold. I can't make things happen. You know, coach them probably send me home. Eric them be probably trying to come, have me go upstairs and talk to him and stuff. So I got to lock in the cold.
I might argue it's going to be too cold Sunday. The real feel could be 6 degrees.
Oh, my God.
At kickoff late Sunday afternoon in Buffalo. Meanwhile, Ravens wideout Zay Flowers still not practicing because of his Week 18 knee injury. And Baltimore is reacquiring wideout Deontay Johnson, whom the Texans just waived after the Ravens got rid of him earlier this year. They don't want Johnson in the playoffs. They can't have him in the playoffs, but they're taking him back because he'll be a free agent this offseason, and they would get a compensatory pick if he signs with somebody else.
Oh, I thought it was because they don't want Deontay to give up the game plan to the Chiefs. They were worried that the Chiefs were going to come in, or the Bills, or somebody was going to sign him to steal strategy.
I mean, maybe
that's what I saw on Twitter, but you're right. That makes much more sense.
The story from ESPN was that they're doing this to lose him in the offseason and maybe get a pick.
So much more sense. I read that they were worried that the Chiefs were going to sign Deontay Johnson just to get the playbook of the Ravens.
I mean, this guy's bounced around on so many teams. Was he paying attention to the game plan? It doesn't seem like he's the most reliable narrator. He's like hot potato.
Wow. He ruined Big Ben's final 3 years. I'm not, you know how I feel about Mr. Drop Deontay Johnson. But obviously, I thought that was funny. Like, would you sign a guy who just got cut just to bring him in and find out like what plays they're running?
Yeah,
I would do that in a second.
To.
And it's been done, but I think Maggie's point's right. He might not be the most reliable source of information.
Like, is he giving you the good intel?
Yeah. The Bears turned over the Arthur Smith stone in their coaching search yesterday. The Jaguars meeting with Bucs OC Liam Cohen. Last night in Minnesota, the Warriors raced to a quick 24-point lead on the T-Wolves. The game was tied at 108, though, with less than 80 seconds left.
Looney dribbles it out to Curry. Pump fake, fly-by, 3-ball. Got it! Oh, the net barely even moved. Curry with a pure shot from the left corner, and he claps and pumps his fist. He knows it's not over. But that was a big-time bucket by number 30.
Tim Roy on Warriors Radio. Curry 7 threes, 31 points. Golden State hangs on for a 116-115 win.
What on earth happened in that game? Because I went to bed and it was like 100-20. The Warriors were winning, right? They blew them out. That's crazy.
I told Manny when I came in today, I was like, one of the things about this job is watching a game for a half and then waking up seeing an entirely different result you expected. Because I was that way with the Lakers Heat. The Heat were destroying the Lakers, and I wake up and the Lakers win by 9. Sorry, if that was in your update, Bogusch.
The Warriors were up 34-12 after the first quarter.
Yeah,
nothing matters in the NBA because of the 3-point.
Just because I don't know if it's like no defense or threes, but the threshold for safe lead is like 38 points.
Well, are you going to do the Clippers score?
But did they blow a 38-point lead?
No, that one was safe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like where the relax point in the NBA is at an all-time like high or low, like however you want to describe it. But 20 points is nothing.
I've never seen a score. I'm sorry to jump on you, and I know nobody gives a crap about the Nets and they're trying to lose, but I've never seen the score like this.
This score is crazy.
It's coming next update.
Okay. Well, I just for the audience, the
Full
final
details.
score is 126-67. I'm like, that's UConn women's basketball.
Guess who scored
preseason.
67?
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're going to go for the tank, really go. If you want Cooper Flag, you're going to have to work for it. And even then, you're not totally guaranteed of it because of the lottery.
Is that like a historic loss? Like, what is
It's a 60-point loss? 59-point loss?
Yeah, it's the biggest win in Clippers history and the biggest loss in Nets history.
The Washington Generals keep the score closer.
Ivica Zubac in this game was plus 48 on the court.
Imagine taking the Nets and the points in this game. I don't even know what the spread was, but that would just be an all-time bad beat. Anyway.
Ja Morant, 21 points, 12 assists. The Grizz won in San Antonio, 129-115. Damian Lillard scored 30 as the Bucks dumped the Magic, 122-93. Milwaukee jumping Orlando for fourth in the East, and they've won all three of their meetings so far this season. An NBA trade yesterday, the Suns getting big man Nick Richards from the Hornets for Josh Okogie with draft picks changing hands as well. Men's number 2, Iowa State, staying hot, 74-57 over 9th-ranked Kansas. The Cyclones have now won 12 straight. Number 6, Tennessee, ran away from 23rd-ranked Georgia, 74-56. And hockey last night, Connor McDavid, 2 goals, 1 assist. Edmonton won in Minnesota 5-3. They have now taken 7 of their last 8 games. Guys, back to you.
Did a full scouting report on the Iowa State team last night.
What do you got?
They're good.
They look like they're 2 years older than a normal college basketball team. Are they just they're huge,
they are old.
And they all are solid, and none of them I've never heard of any of them, and they're really good. Pencil them in to the Elite Eight right now.
I was going to say, that's the formula now.
Yeah.
A bunch of older guys coming together.
Yeah, I mean, they looked much more mature than Kansas for some reason, even though Hunter Dickinson's been there since I was in college. Yeah.
It's like it's turned into old men at the Y.
Yeah, like the Jay Wright Villanova teams. Like, you can't have superstar pros. Like, I've now done 2 college basketball games. Rutgers has all these pro guys, but they're 18 years old. They have no chance. It's an old man game.
I know.
I love it.
I love it, too, because on the college football side, I mean, I think so many guys are coming back.
Yeah.
And it's just like we're keeping teams together almost like they used to do with college basketball when we love watching teams be together for 2 years or 3 years and you really get to know these guys. And now maybe we're having that in college football a little bit.
What are you talking about? One quarterback's from Kansas State last year and the other quarterback's from Duke.
Well, not just the quarterback.
But I'm saying everyone's old, but that's because of the transfer portal. Like,
I'm looking at like Penn State, and all these guys came back. We get another year with both running backs and Drew Aller. Like, this is going to be fun. We at least know some of these guys.
Yeah, because Drew Aller and those running backs were not going anywhere in the draft. Maybe the Drew Aller, but I hear you. But you can't say that everyone stays at their team when Will Howard or Riley Leonard are about to face off.
Well, I mean, there's always free agency now.
Yes.
It's free agency. Anyway, Bogusch, thank you. We see you on the phones. You want to talk about Deion Sanders and the Cowboys? So do we. You want to talk about Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen? So do we. We're also going to attempt to do something that might be impossible, but not for this show. It's Maggie and Perloff. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Mind-bending and intriguing. Who's the better quarterback? Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Early returns. Josh Allen in the lead. I promise I've only voted on this poll one time. I'm not trying to stuff the ballot box like Perloff would do. Also, do you consider Peyton Manning a top 3 quarterback of all time? That was one we kind of stumbled upon. We started talking about ring culture and how much Josh Allen, well, more specifically, Josh Allen probably needs the Super Bowl even more than Lamar. Because Lamar's got the MVPs and, you know, like for future generations to come, if we're talking about legacy, if Allen doesn't have an MVP, doesn't have a Super Bowl, doesn't have a Super Bowl appearance, you know, all these things, people who didn't watch him play are going to start to question, was he that good? Now, all of us who are watching him would say, young people today or whatever we'll say. But
why wouldn't they say the same exact thing about Lamar Jackson?
Because he's got MVPs. He might have 3. You can't ignore a 3-time MVP and not put them in a conversation.
But there's never been a 3-time MVP who hasn't won a championship. So it's a total that is something that I don't think Lamar wants to wear either. I think that's almost worse.
We also have Deion Sanders and the Dallas Cowboys still top of mind because he is the betting favorite to become the next head coach. Michael is in Dallas, wants to talk about it. Good morning, Michael.
Hey, as far as the MVP deal, stop the count.
So you were with me about Josh.
And then Travis Henry, not that great.
Travis Henry was awesome.
I love Travis Henry.
Yeah.
I think he had 13 kids.
Yeah.
Something like that. Derrick Henry.
Oh, and then, don't even get me started as a Cowboy fan with Derrick Henry. So we can pay Zeke $3 million, but we can't pay Derrick Henry, who wanted to come here, $8 million. Oh, I don't know.
Mike, what do you think about Deion Sanders becoming the next head coach of the Cowboys?
Yeah, so the Cowboys, we're not in the playoffs, so the only way we can make the news is to try to sign Deion Sanders, or who do you think, Robert Saleh, Bill Belichick? Who do y'all think is going to be the next coach of the Cowboys?
So glad you asked, pal. And do you notice, Michael's not the only one who's made the Travis Henry, Derrick Henry. I've done it a couple times.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You guys, I can tell when, you guys look at me funny. I'm like, I said Travis again, didn't I? Okay. Let's talk about Deion, Robert Saleh, and the whole Bill Belichick thing. I weirdly think that Belichick might still be lurking here.
Whoa.
I do.
Whoa.
I do. It's gone a little too quiet. Robert Saleh, I think, is being brought in, I don't say just because, I don't know. The things Robert Saleh has going for him is he would allow Jerry and company to push him around. He will not want to have a say on personnel decisions. I just don't understand how you can look at Robert Saleh and, the Jets got worse when he left, but he was not a good coach. No one was shocked when he got fired. Maybe the timing of it was shocking, Perloff, because they were 2-3, I believe, at the time, and they were about to play the Bills in a big game. But no one stood up to pound the table to say, wow, you just got rid of this X's and O's genius, Robert Saleh.
No, but the calculus is different for the Dallas Cowboys, right? They're not looking for an X's and O's genius.
Well, that might be a mistake.
When I say that, I have no idea what they're looking for. I mean, look at some of their candidates. Deion. I think you and I love this Bill Belichick theory. That's wonderful. But I think you overestimate Bill Belichick's X's and O's brilliance. Like, he's going to come in there and game manage the Cowboys to a Super Bowl or something. And also Bill Belichick, he's good at game management, but it wasn't like he had some superpower in the last 2 minutes where he was always at an advantage. I remember a lot of close games the Patriots lost. I mean, I think of the Giants game, he should have put double team David Tyree. It's not like
double team David Tyree had 4 catches.
Bill Belichick was all about
season.
preparation. His superpower was the week. I don't think it was the game. I think he was good, but I don't think he was superior.
I 100% disagree.
Oh,
there are so many games that Bill Belichick, that other teams lost because Bill Belichick was the more prepared and the better strategist.
Prepared. He had all that done in advance, but I don't think he was better with 4th down or timeouts or that much better than anybody else. Definitely not 4th down. He's probably behind the 8 ball on that one.
Well, I think the league went through a little bit of a change with 4th down
throughout
his coaching career. No one was really going for it, at least from what I can remember. And I actually thought Belichick was ahead of the curve in some of those. I think to not have a healthy respect for Bill Belichick and his X's and O's acumen
he's good,
is just sacrilegious to me. It seems ridiculous.
No, but not X's and O's. Game management.
Yeah,
I mean, a list of things. Yeah, he's good, but it's not like that skill is going to turn the Cowboys into a Super Bowl contender. No way. If anything, Bill Belichick will reset the culture and reset the level of preparation. That's what he's there for, not because with 4 minutes left in the game, he's going to outsmart Sean McVay.
He did outsmart Sean McVay in a Super Bowl.
He outsmarted him for 60 minutes. It wasn't like that's not the game management situation. That game wasn't even close.
It was close. It was 13-6. Wasn't that the final score?
13-3, but I mean.
Okay, sorry. I forgot. Yeah, the Rams didn't score a touchdown.
You don't think it's preparation with Belichick? You think it's the actual game day?
I think it's both. This is why he stands head and shoulders above.
Picture him in that Giants game the last year. He looked clueless as to what was going on.
855-212-4227. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. They're going to make us wait for it. Of course, Perloff, it's the nightcap on Sunday, last game of the divisional round. Got some bigger spreads, too, for some of the earlier games. Looking like, 8.5?
For the Texans Chiefs, right? 9.5 for
Commanders and Detroit Lions.
And then 6 for my Eagles. What on earth is that number about, Maggie?
Well, you love talking about the weather. And I think that the Rams coming to the East Coast, having to play outside, might be a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams looked awful when they came. That game was against the Jets in New York. Their offense looked like they didn't want to be there. So I do think that's a big factor. That's why these teams who mail in the early part of the season, like the Cincinnati Bengals, like the Baltimore Ravens, maybe next year you won't do that because Baltimore does not want to be in Buffalo. That, unfortunately, we keep talking about this Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. Weather is going to be the ultimate story. I just don't think we're going to get this quarterback battle. 8 degrees, Meg. I just said 8 degrees at kickoff.
I know. And
that sucks.
But at least no precipitation, so it's not going to be a snow game, which then, becomes its own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I think it's going to really be a running back versus linebacker kind of thing, especially on the Bills aspect of it.
And 2 running quarterbacks. Right, not just running back. I think Josh and Lamar will run a lot.
And then obviously it's going to come down to all the other things that crazy games come down to. Weird turnovers, guys out of nowhere making big plays, big calls, all that stuff. And hopefully we get a good game. Hopefully we get a game like where there's not some controversial ref call that decides it or something stupid. I really hope that this is about the guys on the field.
I don't mind a controversial ref game. Those are always fun.
Yeah, well, ask the Green Bay Packers who got a controversial call against your Philadelphia Eagles that probably changed the tenor of the game. It's you don't want it to come down to that. So that's all I'm hoping.
I don't want it to be like that. Remember that game where the Niners beat the Packers in the freezing cold, which was one of Aaron Rodgers' last year, and their only offense was a block punt? That's what I don't want. I'm afraid we have 2 all-time quarterbacks going against each other, and that ball is going to be a rock in midair, and they're not going to be able to do anything. That's what I'm concerned about. I feel like that would be a bummer because we're almost like losing this great battle.
It hasn't even happened yet. I mean, let's not say we've lost it before it's happened. I know it's going to be really cold, but I think that's part of it. And I think that's where the Bills deserve some credit here. And if you're asking me who has the edge, obviously, my fandom is all part of it, but I think the Bills have done a better job of turning themselves into a cold weather team. Now, I'm going to disagree with you. I think the Ravens are a cold weather team. You're talking about Lamar Jackson, being from Florida or whatever. He's been in Baltimore now since 2018. It's not warm in the winter in Baltimore by any stretch. So this isn't the Dolphins coming. This isn't the Chargers coming at East Coast. They're right there. It's the Mid-Atlantic. It's the same thing.
Lamar Jackson's, I read yesterday, the coldest game he's played in is 27 degrees. So this is 19 degrees colder than any game he's ever played in.
Okay, so this
significant.
Is for people who are living in Arizona right now and who are living in the South and even maybe in California, whatever, are not going to maybe not understand this if you've been lucky enough to live in warm weather your whole life. I'm going to tell you this is someone who's lived in cold, dark, awful weather my whole life. Anything under 27, I think it's basically the same. And I've lived in a place that's gone to -5. Like it's about wind chill, and once it gets that cold, it's just that cold.
I think 27.8 are pretty significant. I'll bet you. We should get somebody on this. The metrics. I'll bet you the passing goes down 20 degrees lower. I mean, it's got to be. Remember Miami, Kansas City last year?
No, that was ridiculous.
It's not that different because it's not just 8 degrees. I think the wind chill is going to be bad too. And I think there's some wind. So I think that I can't imagine that there's going to be big passing games here.
It's always the wind that does it.
That's why Buffalo got so lucky because they have this crap division and they have owners who are really struggling. I feel like, but Baltimore lost to the Raiders in week 2, so you can't blame them.
That was a lifetime ago. And then they beat the brakes off the Bills in week 4.
No, it's a lifetime ago. This is why the game is in Buffalo.
Oh. Right.
Yeah, that's why this is, you got to really pay attention to this. I mean, wouldn't you feel completely differently if Buffalo had to go down to Baltimore for this weekend?
Yeah, home field advantage definitely matters. I'm not going to argue with you there. I don't think Lamar Jackson is not a cold weather quarterback, is what I'm saying. This isn't Tua coming into the game.
Lamar Jackson's 10 coldest games of his career. He's 8-2. The temperatures range from 36 to 27. Now, those 2 losses, one was to the Chiefs, one was to the Bills in the playoffs.
Right, but 8...
And that game was crazy, by the way, because it was a Taron Johnson pick 6 that actually decided that game. Go ahead.
I think you guys are crazy. 27 and 8 are not the same thing.
It's all cold.
That is just not true. And we see, this weekend, there were games where it was about 30, and the quarterbacks had no trouble at all. 8, the quarterbacks will definitely have trouble. They have to grip the ball. The receivers have to catch that frozen rock. I think you guys are naive to what this impact's going to be on the game. I could be wrong. But if they both throw for 350 yards, I'd be shocked.
No, they're not. But Lamar can run. So
could Josh, yeah.
It's not like Jared Goff's out there in this cold weather and he's a pocket passer and now he's got to make this happen. Lamar has the weapon.
Now, to Perloff's point, though, in these games, Lamar Jackson has never completed more than, looks like 17 passes except for one game. And in most of these games, he threw for less than 200 yards.
Yeah, I saw.
But you know what? I'm sorry, go ahead.
He's had two games his career below freezing, and he got 300 yards in both games. He's never had a big passing game in the cold.
He didn't have a big passing game last week against the Steelers. This just might be the formula.
Yeah, that'd be great.
He didn't have a big passing game against the Bills the last time when they won by 25 points, by the way. That was not the passing game. Derrick Henry, and they ran for 200 yards. They ran for 250 or 60 yards in that game. That's it.
Well, right, but we're not going to get the full Lamar or the full Josh Allen, which is a shame, which is fine. I mean, they both have to deal with the same issue. I would like to see, remember when Josh Allen and the Bills played the Lions and it was 45 to 41? Yeah. These are 2 amazing quarterbacks. I would love to see them in a warm weather game, have all their weapons available to them and just, battle mano a mano. This is going to be more about grit, which is one thing, but it's not quite as entertaining for me. I like shootouts.
I said I wanted a dome on the Buffalo Stadium, but I basically got my Bills Mafia card revoked.
I know. My stupid tax dollars, because Buffalo is the only New York team going to build another outdoor stadium.
Silly. Brad is in Oregon, wants to talk on something that we touched on with the whole quarterback situation with Lamar and Josh Allen and legacies and just ring culture, which I blame or praise, however you look at it. I blame Michael Jordan for that. It's if you didn't win, your career doesn't exist. And I think that's a fault. That's not a good thing about sports. Brad, what do you think?
Personal with me. Yeah, I agree. Thanks for taking my call. Great show as always, guys. I think we put too much on a Super Bowl ring. I'll take Fran Tarkington, Dan Marino, Jim Kelly over a Doug Williams or Joe Flacco any day of the week. But my main question is that if Patrick Mahomes had won 2 Super Bowls and on the verge of maybe winning 3, wouldn't we still be talking about Patrick Mahomes because he got to 2 Super Bowls? But if he didn't win either one of them, but what he did on the field all year long to get there, wouldn't we still be talking about Patrick Mahomes as one of the best quarterbacks out there playing today?
I think he would have gotten the John Elway treatment, right? You're saying if he had gone to those Super Bowls and lost, is that what you're saying, Brad?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I think we're putting too much on. I mean, Doug Williams and Joe Flacco, okay, you won a Super Bowl, but where are you going to rate them as far as being top quarterbacks?
I have Joe Flacco number 6 all time.
Right. Once you win more than one and you win 3 or 4 and, you're in the Tom Brady era and the Joe Montana and things like that, then you get obvious that you're going to be a top quarterback of all time. But because you won a ring, I don't think that you can turn around and put above other quarterbacks.
It's funny, Brad, thank you for the call. Perloff and I were having this discussion in the break. I said, I think there's a lot of people who would rather be Joe Flacco than Jim Kelly.
Josh Allen.
Well, we talked about Josh Allen. I think you would even say Jim Kelly. I think there's a lot of people who say that who would rather have that one ring, and I think it's a function of what's going on in sports now. And I blame some of the athletes. Again, Michael Jordan, I think Derek Jeter used to say this, if you don't win, everything is a waste. Nothing good happened if you didn't win. And we've taken that and just ran with it to the extreme. There's no more process over results. We like to say that. People inside sports sometimes will say that. But as far as us and certain athletes who have been very vocal about it, there's no process. It's only the result.
Well, it's funny. I said I was flabbergasted. I'm like, there's really a person out there who would rather be Joe Flacco than Jim Kelly. And you said they're out there, and it seems like this caller said they're out there too. Please call in.
Or Josh Allen.
Who wants to be Joe Flacco over Josh Allen. I think this might be a generational thing. Like, I think you're a millennial, like the participation trophy thing. Like,
yeah, I am.
EJ's a millennial and loves the in-season tournament of the NBA. Like, we're old school Gen X. Like, it was all about winning the title. It was all about the team winning the title. That's all that mattered. Like, individual awards meant nothing.
But let's take it to someone who's a little near and dear to your heart, Charles Barkley.
Yeah, love Charles Barkley.
Right. Do you think his career didn't matter because he never won?
Well, it mattered, but I'm not putting him in top 5 players of all time or top 10. Like, he definitely is the next tier below because he didn't win.
Come on, man.
And he would, who would tell you that? Charles Barkley, of course. Like, winning, because Tom Brady, to his credit, like, and Mahomes, they'll do whatever it takes to win. That's all they care about. Mahomes' numbers were terrible this year, and he's perfectly content to do that. Tom Brady had 50 touchdowns with Randy Moss, and then he just pulled back. He was perfectly content to do whatever the team needs to win. And to me, that's the ultimate athletic achievement, to be a team-first guy. Football is the biggest team sport. And to me, that's how you judge it, by how you fit into the team, not by what you can do individually.
Sure, but, and not to bring this back to a conversation from 30 years ago, but do you think that Jim Kelly was not doing what the team needed him to do, and that's why they lost those Super Bowls? That's not true.
No.
You know that's not true.
Yeah, but that was like, honestly, I think like the AFC was such garbage back then that like the Broncos and the Bills used to run through it.
You think that Josh Allen is not doing what he needs to do? I would say this year is a total example of Josh doing whatever it takes, which is not having the gaudy passing numbers that he's had in the past, trying to make the smart play as opposed to the wow play.
Right. That's why this is Josh Allen's first legit MVP season. I love Josh Allen. Of course I would take him. I mean, not everybody can win a title, but if you don't win the title, then you don't get the flowers, right? Like,
but what I worry about with our ring culture now is you didn't exist if you don't win a ring. Like, we're talking about in the future, if Allen and Lamar, and let's just say Joe Burrow, if they never win a title, how are we going to remember them?
But we're talking about culture, and ring culture sounds a lot healthier than non-ring culture. Non-ring culture seems like it's about the individual. Ring culture seems like it's about the team. And you want, like, being about the team is a much healthier, cooler thing.
I get that, but I think really there have been really great teams. Like, do you think that the New York Giants were the better team or the New England Patriots were the better team in the 2007 Super Bowl? It's obvious that the New England Patriots were the better team. They did everything better. And on one day, the Giants beat them in a low-scoring game where someone made an all-time great play.
Right.
And does that totally throw away then the fact that the Patriots went undefeated the rest of the season? Like, you would say yes.
Yeah, of course.
See, I think that's unhealthy. I'm not saying that Tom Brady deserves a participation trophy, but I think that's unhealthy to just say what happened on one given day totally negates an entire season.
For me, the ultimate moment in the whole Patriots dynasty was 2002, because it was a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When the Patriots didn't do individual announce, they ran out as a team, and they kind of broke a trend that nobody was anybody. It was like, and that's the Patriot way. Like, you are a member of a team. I don't care if you're Tom Brady or if you're Larry Izzo. You are the same value. Like, team. And that's like, and I know Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are giant stars, but that's another example. Like, everything's about moving the ball and team. The great teams play as a unit, and they are not individuals. That's what makes sports great, when like you can put your individual desires to the side and do everything for the team.
But I don't think you would say that to Kurt Warner's face. I don't think you would tell him you were selfish and that's why you lost to the Patriots. That doesn't make any sense.
That was another great team. I mean, like, listen.
That's what I'm saying. They lost that game to the Patriots not because people were being selfish. It's not because the Patriots introduced their team all at the same time.
Well,
you sound insane saying that.
I'm not saying that is exactly why the Patriots won. The Rams are the same way, by the way. The Rams, like, very much a team.
They lost that game because a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. The Patriots had a better defense. I think because Bill Belichick was spying on the Rams, and I think because it came down to a last second play. I think not because the Rams got introduced one guy at a time.
I'm not saying they won that game because of that. I'm saying they had a dynasty because of that. Because Bill Belichick said you came in there and you put your individual. Is definitely the key. You put your individual. Whatever you wanted, your desires, your individual goals to the side for the team. Like you might be a great wide receiver, but you're going to run out and you're going to block every play. And if you're not going to do that, you're going to get cut. That's what great teams do. And I think there are other teams where the wide receivers like, I need targets. To me, that's the most defining factor of the Patriot way. Do your job.
No, I get it, but by saying that, you're denigrating. You're saying basically you're kind of implying like Torrey Holt is the reason they lost, which is so not true. He wasn't selfish. He wasn't me first.
There's no way I'm implying that. I didn't even mention the Rams. This is about what made the Patriots great. The Rams won a Super Bowl too, and they're very much a team-oriented team. They had Dick Vermeil, for God's sake.
I know. I guess the way I was saying is you're saying you thought that the Patriots dynasty was because they all put aside their personal egos to be about the team.
Yes.
And I'm saying the teams they played against, who they beat.
Right.
You're kind of implying that they were doing things the wrong way and the Patriots were doing things the right way. And I don't think Kurt Warner was selfish, and I don't think that Torrey Holt was selfish, and I don't think that, I don't it's not one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, eventually what happened with the Rams was Falk and Warner, they all Falk got selfish. Like there was big problems. They totally tore apart.
But
not
that
success.
Season. Like, that's not why they lost.
I'm not saying that's your point of one game. Just in general, this team philosophy to be team first over individual, it's obvious. Like, there's nobody who could say, like, a team full of guys who are focused on their own numbers is better than a team who puts everything aside.
But usually the guys who focus on their own numbers, if they're really that selfish, they're not even getting to the Super Bowl. Like, they're not even there in the big game. It's generally, I think, the teams that are the most complete and healthiest, but the most complete actually playing this game. So just because you happen to lose the game doesn't mean your team was a bunch of selfish jerks.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying this idea of ring culture sounds like a bunch of guys who'll do anything to win, do anything for the team to win. And that's like the defining characteristic for great teams. And by the way, the Rams are a great team. I wasn't saying like the Rams are hot garbage because they lost that game. And also, I think that Giants team had a lot of that going on. The team that beat the Patriots. I mean, I don't think this is you're looking at me like I'm saying some crazy theory. This is sports 101, right? You want team players.
Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe am I not explaining it right? Because you're basically, the way I'm taking it is that if you lose the Super Bowl, it was worthless. You didn't play together. You aren't playing for each other. You aren't sacrificing just because you happen to lose one game. To me, that doesn't make sense. Maybe I'm not explaining.
Well, but when I hear ring culture, I hear, oh my God, it's all about the championship. That's like, and by the way, to get the Super Bowl is pretty tough. You probably have to have that same mentality. When I hear ring culture, it's like, forget everything else. I don't care how many stats I have this year. It's all about the ring. And that's sort of what all champions have in common.
Not 5,
not 6. I don't think that the 90s Bills were like lost because they weren't playing for each other.
Yeah, I would never say that.
Okay.
But you would say the teams that were great in the 90s were probably, except for the Cowboys, but who knows what was going on there. They were probably playing for each other. That's football, right? Like the guys, it's a brotherhood of men. Like ask any champion and be like, what was the key? Like, man, we were out there for each other. We were playing for our coach. We were playing for our team. Like we had each other's back. That to me, that's what ring culture kind of implies. But you see it differently. You see it more as like ring culture denigrates anyone who didn't win the ring.
Exactly. That's what I think ring culture is.
Defining the term quite differently.
Yeah, I guess that the whoever loses the champion is the biggest loser. Pete Bellotti, who was our former board op, used to see the world this way: second place, first loser. Right? Like, and I that's how I define ring culture: is that if you didn't win, it didn't matter.
I'm a great time.
So in a way, we're talking about different things.
Yeah, I guess we are.
See, when you say ring culture, like ring culture is the opposite of EJ caring about the in-season tournament.
Well, let's leave the in-season tournament. Ramon is in Indianapolis. Ramon, what do you think, pal?
As a former college baseball player who didn't win anything then, but then was a youth coach who won a title as a youth coach, that was the most exhilarating thing I've ever had happen. I'm telling you, looking at the 10 and 12-year-olds jump all over the place, families happy. I mean, tough situations. To win one in football, Joe Namath have lived on one. I disagree with the last caller. Joe Namath lived and he has been a god because of one Super Bowl win in New York. Doug Williams, sir. The significance of Doug Williams winning that Super Bowl goes far beyond what I think you really understand, and you're talking to an African-American male.
Yeah.
That win was significant for a whole lot of reasons, Doug Williams winning. I met Mark Rippon on a plane with Mike Ditka years ago. I always loved Mark Rippon. He won one. We don't even think of Jim Plunkett, and he won two with the Raiders. You're going to tell me Eli Manning's regular season numbers are horrible compared to everybody else. But those two rings make him a god. And all you have to do is get one in football.
Ramon, can I ask you a question, though? Just you said you were a college baseball player. You never won anything. Then you became a youth coach, and you won with those, and that was the most exhilarating. But you were trying your best when you were a college player, right?
Oh, we were trying our best.
Right,
we just got our heads busted. We were trying our best. And then in baseball, Shohei Ohtani couldn't even bat in the World Series. He's going to hoist that trophy and be treated as a god in Los Angeles. It is, it's not so much as a ring culture. Is it just the spoils of winning? And even when you're not the responsible, maybe like Shohei in this case, or if you go back and look at Drew Brees won one. He's a god in New Orleans. Phillip Rivers didn't. So we don't talk about Phillip Rivers. You missed about Phillip Rivers. Look at his numbers. They're fantastic. But he never got there. He didn't even get close to get in there. So I'm not going to denigrate. Phil Simms got two. We don't even mention him. You think Terry Bradshaw was a great quarterback because he has four? Terry Bradshaw wasn't a great quarterback by all metrics. He wasn't great. Come on, Perloff.
That was 1982. The wide receiver ran out and got tackled. That was a different football game back then, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't. He's not mentioned as a great quarterback in the echelon of the Montanas and the Mannings and the Bradys and everybody else.
He's not that far below. He's top 10.
Forgotten about when it comes to that. But that one title means something in football. It means something. And here in Indianapolis, remember the owner said when Peyton Manning, when he cut Peyton, we should have had more than one, considering what he was doing. That's what Jim Irsay said. Yeah. But we live on that one title even right now. So I just want to throw that out there. Yeah. That one matters in football more than probably any other sport. Oh, and Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas. What about him? You got that one.
Big one.
He's a god.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking my call.
Ramon, thank you so much. It's a lot there.
But people know one thing, there's different levels of this thing, too. Trent Dilfer is not the same. There are different levels of the ring winning.
I think what we're talking about, too, in some ways it's kind of a compliment to all these guys. We're talking about the upper echelons, because you're right. We're not talking about Mark Rippon as much. We're talking about defining the best of the best.
That's actually a good point by Ramon. When that caller mentioned Doug Williams, I was like, oh, Doug Williams is special.
That was a very different one.
Yeah, and also Doug Williams almost led the Bucs to the Super Bowl. He was a good quarterback.
But the Mark Rippon is, again, against my Bills.
Yeah.
He's remembered because, Joe Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. Mark Rippon was one of them. But he's not, just because he has the ring, doesn't mean he's talked about in the same way.
Yeah, we could do a list of forgotten Super Bowl quarterbacks. Trent Dilfer is obviously the poster child. Everyone talks about the bad quarterback who won, and it's Trent Dilfer. But there are a few of them. Brad Johnson.
Right.
Love Brad Johnson.
It was just defense-first teams.
Yeah,
Defenses were so amazing.
Plunkett's a weird one because he won 2 and he didn't make the Hall of Fame, and there are a lot of people who think he should. By the way, all these guys you mentioned, they're funny. These guys are scrubs. They're all number 1 overall picks, every single player. Plunkett number 1, Eli 1, Bradshaw 1, Namath 1. So it's not like they were scrubs.
No, not even close. 855-212-4227. These quarterback matchups, man, this is what they bring out in us. All of a sudden, we're talking about games from 35 years ago. Talking about whether you'd rather be Joe Flacco or, I saw a DP show yesterday, Joe Flacco or Phillip Rivers. They were talking about, we're talking about Joe Flacco or Josh Allen, or would you rather be Jim Kelly or, Mark Rippon? 855-212-4227. I hope somewhere Mark Rippon is listening or one of these older guys. Hey, we didn't forget about you.
Our callers definitely don't forget about them because they love calling in talking about these guys. It's like it happened yesterday.
I know. 855-212-4227. All right, we've got a lot to get to, including picking some upsets for the weekend. Who's more likely to pull off a real upset? The Buffalo Ravens game. That's like a pick 'em. Not that one. Who actually can turn some heads in the divisional round? We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Wow, welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. An NFL draft prospect just walked into the room, Maggie. It's Quinn Ewers. Oh, no, it's Andrew Bogusch. We have to tweet out this side by side. I don't think Maggie's as sold as I am. You guys are literally separated at birth.
So I don't know. I never noticed it until yesterday, and a good friend, former coworker of mine, pointed it out on Twitter. Now, he knew me when I had my hair shorter and no beard, so it really makes sense on his end. That might be why Maggie's confused. Right,
because, Ewers has sort of the buzz cut. Did you ever have that? Can you find it? I did a side-by-side photo. We'll put it out on social media.
Wait, can I see it? I haven't seen the tweet yet.
I actually just emailed the picture.
Okay.
Zig Fracassi. Let's call him out.
America knows him.
Yeah. So you have the same face shape. I don't know what the shape is, but like you guys have the exact, like your head is shaped exactly the same way.
How many different shapes can a face be?
Well, I don't know, but I think Bogusch and
oval-ish.
Ewers are it's crazy. I 100% see it. If you guys had the same length hair, he's got shorter hair now, then it would be, I mean, you could double as this
Are you
guy.
Quinn Ewers' dad?
I'm probably.
You wish.
I probably was physically capable of being it, right? And age-wise, how young is he?
He's 21 now.
Yeah, great. Good times.
That just dawned on you that a college quarterback, you could be old enough
I
to be
hadn't
their
thought
dad.
about me and Quinn Ewers' familial connection, no.
But by the way,
you kind of
like,
do look like them, Bogues.
Bogues,
Not
so
gonna lie.
I don't think he's ugly, so I'll take it.
No, I think it's something about the way, like your face, it's the jaw, right? The bottom of the face, it's like the same shape.
Well, Quinn Ewers' draft stock just plummeted because Bogusch is not a good-looking dude.
Manny.
Oh, did I say that on that? Oh, my
Mike's on. Yeah, Mike's on.
This is Perloff and science. The quarterbacks, the quarterbacks have to be good looking. That's not fair.
I mean, the funny thing is, quarterbacks have to be good. All athletes are generally pretty good looking. I'm going with a young, attractive guy. I mean, like, who's in this draft?
Here's me with short hair.
Okay, I actually think you look more like Ewers now than that photo.
Yeah? Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. But also, you guys have the same smile. I don't know why, and it's delightful, I might add.
I want to go back to
It's
when
like
this...
a warm hug.
This is a pretty good-looking draft, by the way.
Thank you.
I mean, you got Andrew Bogusch in there. You have Cam Ward, Shador.
Here's my wedding picture.
See, I think you look more like him now.
You look like Will Howard in that picture.
Wow, look at me. I'm all over the place.
Also, you got a lot of pictures of yourself in your phone. Is that normal?
I took a picture of... It's
your wedding day.
Yeah, my wedding day, Maggie.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, that's normal.
Maggie, you have a lot of pictures of your son on your phone. That's a little weird.
And I'm not any of them.
You calling Bogusch a narcissist because he found a picture of his wedding day photo?
I mean, where do the treadmill videos live? Whose phone is that?
In the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, you do look like Quinn Ewers.
All right.
You do.
And unlike Manny, I'm going to take it as a compliment to both me and Quinn that we would both be drafted higher because we don't look like Carson Beck.
Yeah, by the way.
The strays.
Yeah, I've never seen any other human being that looks like Carson Beck. That's why people think he's an alien. Seriously, you should be thrilled. Like, I've never gotten a quarterback comparison in my life. Maybe if you squint, Mike Glennon. That's what I got.
Little Mike Glennon.
You don't have
really
the neck that
actually,
Mike
I don't
Glennon
even
has.
know. I don't even know if Alan Bowman is in this draft. He's like played college football.
He was in the World War II draft.
I don't know what he looks like, but I think I probably look like Alan Bowman. No, I don't at all.
Because Alan Bowman sounds like your CPA. That's why.
Davis Webb. I think I might look
You
like
don't.
him. I don't know what Davis Webb looks like.
I've interviewed Davis Webb.
He's tall and skinny, though.
Definitely not.
You don't look like Davis Webb.
Not at all.
But
He's
see,
just kind of nerdy, but you don't look like him.
I'd rather be you, though, Prof. I'd rather have actual quarterback friends than randomly looking like Quinn Ewers.
I feel like you look more like a basketball player, like Mike Dunleavy, Jr.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Take that one to the bank. Thank you. Number 3 overall pick. Hello.
He's almost blushing.
By the way,
it's like you're hitting on him.
I understand what you're saying about Davis Webb, but Davis Webb is pretty much as big a nerd as an NFL quarterback can be.
I can't wait for that guy to be a fired Jets head coach. It's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, but no, I mean, this is great. Do you guys, Manny and EJ, do you guys look like any pro athletes? What do you get? EJ, you have one, right?
No, I don't. Nobody says I look like anybody.
By the way, bad job by us that, Bogusch we work with him every day. We talk about Texas football all the time.
Yeah, Zig had to bring it up.
I know. I feel like we're slacking. It's like our fault. We should have had this comparison 2 years ago.
No. But 2 years ago, Quinn Ewers had the mullet. That was so overwhelming. When Quinn Ewers mullet, I was trying to find the side-by-side photos. Quinn Ewers mullet is a totally different person. Like, they're not even, I don't even actually know if it is the same person. I don't know if the NFL wants to do a DNA test. Like, if you're, by the way, did you guys like the mullet? Like, is he the same guy? Everyone's like,
he looks way better now.
He looks like John Daly with the mullet.
Yeah, but everyone's like, oh, he cut his hair, so he's not going to turn the ball over as much. I don't know. I think the mullet, because what is he, a third-round pick now? I think the mullet could get his draft stock up a little bit. You guys didn't like the mullet?
No,
the mullet was the best.
It made him look like he was like John Daly in waiting.
He looked he looked unserious to me.
Yeah. That's what he said.
Wait, you guys don't like John Daly? I think the mullet was so cool. I wanted to bring it back. Baseball.
Bogusch, have you ever rocked a mullet?
No, but I have a lot of hair in the back of my head right now. I'm very overdue for a
just let it flow.
And we're starting to get a little flip back here. So
why don't you get
let it ride?
Get a Quinn Ewers length, and then you could walk around the combine pretending you're Quinn Ewers.
Get a man bun.
I think the huge bald spot. Yeah. If I did that, would be a giveaway.
I think the bald spot with the mullet is a special combination.
Are you mad at me, Maggie? I'm confused here.
No, we're talking it out. We're just spitballing.
We're workshopping.
A bald spot and a mullet.
You always talk about your bald spot. We can't see it.
I know, because I'm facing you only.
You walk out of the room backwards.
By the way, we're going to do Quinn Ewers draft stock later in the show, right? Because
I'm not 100% convinced he's going to stay in the draft, though. He has until February 7th to pull his name out of the draft and go back to college. I think this is a negotiating ploy.
He made a video, though.
Yeah, once you actually put in the editing and time, that's good counterpoint by Bogusch there.
It was a goodbye video?
He knows him.
You know how he thinks. You're familiar with how he thinks. Yep, Bogusch looks like Quinn Ewers. It's true.
All right, you want an update?
It is a nice thing that people can say. Like, we're all extremely online, and people say really mean things about what we look like. So, Quinn Ewers, you should take it and run with it, Bogusch.
I was feeling very good about it until Manny said that we were both ugly. Or at least I'm ugly.
Well, you had that coming to you with all the digs about the Knicks and everything.
Speaking of that, the list of 76ers that did not play last night included Joel Embiid, Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, Moses Malone, and the mighty Knicks still needed overtime to win.
Looks like he still could.
In Philly.
Chance of let's go Knicks here in Philly. Brunson right side, pull up three-pointer is good for Jalen Brunson.
Pat O'Keefe on Knicks radio. Jalen Brunson scoring 16 of his 38 in the fourth quarter in overtime to rescue a 125-119 win. A victory that means basically nothing, yet we've got two dudes wearing celebratory Knicks jerseys this morning.
I can't believe it.
Everybody. Philadelphia.
76ers. Said fly, Eagles fly.
I came in, first thing I said to EJ this morning, it's like, why does it feel like the Knicks blew out the Sixers in overtime? It felt like we were robbed. And you know what I mean, EJ? Like the game didn't feel close to this. The Knicks were up by like 20 and fell asleep in the fourth quarter. I didn't even know half the players the Sixers were throwing out there. Who are those?
Same.
Who is Kelly Oubre?
Oubre, who's Edwards?
Edwards, and then who's apparently from Philadelphia, and then some other guy that was playing. He hit a bank three at the end of the third quarter. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
They're getting guys from out of the stands to play for the Sixers today.
Honestly, we should have a team of psychotherapists come in and talk to Manny and EJ about over-celebrating Knicks wins in January. It is a psychosis.
You guys look
psychosis. You guys look crazy.
No, like physically, look at you guys. The amount of Knicks gear that you own is just like, it's never ending. I feel like I'm living in the Knicks team store.
Yeah, Andrea's sick of it. But look, this is purely for Perloff. This is
not Manny. Manny would be dressed like that no matter where he was going this morning.
For me, this is purely for
That's
Perloff.
wedding attire for Manny.
I take particular pride in destroying the Sixers.
Yeah. Oh, you should. But here, I have a question about Joel Embiid because I'm not involved in this Knicks Sixers thing, and I thank the good Lord every day that I'm not.
Pray for that, yeah.
But I have a question for you. So, not to bring up old stuff, but Joel Embiid got hurt on Christmas because he fell over a security rope. Do we have footage of this anywhere?
I think you do.
I'm not calling BS on it. I just haven't seen it. Okay,
I'm pretty sure I've seen that video.
Because it must have been horrible. He must have taken this ridiculous fall, yes?
Indeed, he probably flopped.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't I wouldn't exactly call it that.
Okay, but this isn't more load management, right? Like he's actually hurt. Who knows? Whatever.
Yeah, the Sixers are totally lost. But the NBA players themselves don't care who wins these games. Why do you guys care? Like
so much for ring culture.
In January, they know it's a long season. They do not even break a sweat. They could care less how these games. Everybody in the NBA is focused on later. But you guys, you too.
I don't think the Cavs and OKC were focused on later when they played that awesome game last week.
And
well,
they
should be
soon, right?
They should be because I think a lot of NBA players are much more focused on.
I mean, Josh Hart's been complaining about the Knicks' effort for the last 2 weeks.
If it's the regular season, right?
But he cares. That's what I'm saying. Like there are players who care, teams that care.
Also,
obviously.
if you care about getting home court advantage through the playoffs, like we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens. They kind of farted around early in the season. They lost to the Raiders, and they are playing this game in Buffalo. They'd much rather be playing it in Baltimore, I'm sure. They could still win the game, but do you not believe in home court advantage in the NBA?
No, I think the NBA players don't care at all. I think they care 0%, and that's why the product in the early season is so meaningless. I really believe that. I feel like, and I've heard LeBron say basically that.
I think you're talking
all
about
that matters is what you're like in the playoffs.
But I think you're talking about the LeBron. I think you're talking about the older guys. I don't think that the teams, again, like a team like the Knicks or the Cavs or those teams that haven't won anything, like they're trying to win these games.
I think it means a lot to Darius Garland and your favorite player, Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell. And to exclude the Knicks from the conversation, the guys, like you said, in Cleveland and OKC, these games definitely do matter. And even those that are chasing them, they absolutely do matter.
Yeah,
and
I think
besides the Heat, all those other teams that keep not taking the regular season seriously, it's hurting them.
We're in the load management era, which by definition means the regular season doesn't matter.
So Andrew Kaplan put in our chat, youtube.com/infinitysportsnet, there is the video of Joel Embiid falling. So thank you for that, Cap. Cap also said, am I salty about Bogusch today? Did I say something wrong? You guys, Manny called Bogusch to...
That's every day. This particular with you, Maggie, seems a little more pointed today for some reason.
What did I say?
You heard it too?
What did I say?
Virgil told me to have a bald spot and a mullet. That was the first thing.
You brought up the bald spot.
There was
and
something
I said,
else before that also felt...
Wait a minute, hold on. You brought up the bald spot, and I said, has anyone ever had a bald spot and a mullet? So I can't repeat what you said?
Mm-mm. You suggested doing mullet bald spot.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Yeah. There's no way to look good in that. So suggesting it is like you crazy awesome.
Did it.
Crazy amazing is what it would be.
We call that the skullet, Maggie. You don't do that.
We call it single. We call it divorce in my house. Get out, you loser.
Sorry. Okay.
Irreconcilable differences.
Bogusch and I at the bachelor pad.
Manny's like, come on over. Got a seat for you right here on the couch next to me.
Come on, you freak with the skullet. Come sit next to me.
Knicks and Nets on the television. Let's go.
I mean, it would make a lot of sense because we're already best friends and we work at the same place. We could commute in the morning.
Talk a little Giants quarterback options.
Right.
Talk about the Rangers
Manny
situation.
Pucks and me watching hockey together. Me hate watching the Knicks. You love watching the Knicks.
It would be the worst 45 minutes of my life.
Or the best rest of your life.
All of a sudden, Bogusch is just like cousin it on your couch. Like, he's still here. Huh.
Why is he wearing my Mitchell Robinson jersey?
Bogusch would wear it just
to
like put ketchup on it and just like be disgusting. Like he would just, that would be hell, man. You would not want that.
Oh, I would have a closet full of sarcastic Knicks jerseys to wear during games.
Eddie Curry.
Eddie Curry was the first name.
Yeah, like a Michael Sweetney.
Exactly.
Georgetown's finest, Michael Sweetney.
Yeah.
Love that dude.
Oh, Lee Nalon.
Oh, the king of the 10-day
Lee Nalon was a Knick? Oh, my God.
He's in everything.
Yeah, he was in everything.
Yeah, the guy played on every team.
Man, EJ, that might be the deepest cut that's ever been cut on this show.
Random
Lee Nalon.
Knicks is my Jeopardy superpower.
Good
Trent
grief.
Tucker.
I don't know if you should brag
Well,
about
Trent
that.
Tucker was a star. I mean, that's
Yeah, he doesn't count.
Trent Tucker's like an all-time like great outside shooter.
I mean, a star.
Not a star, but he's a lot better than Lee Nalon.
Okay.
Chris Copeland.
Moochie Norris.
Oh, we can do this.
You get a Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Was he a Knick?
For like 20
but
minutes.
Melo gave him 60 minutes. Oh, that's right. No, he was a Knick.
He was a Knick. He
Yeah.
got traded to the Knicks or signed with the Knicks, but never donned the jersey. I digress.
Okay.
Othello Harrington.
Oh,
I was going to
that's a
bring him
good
up.
one.
Because I think Othello Harrington actually was playing basketball in Iran. I was like, get out of here. I pronounced it wrong. Iran has a basketball team. And
Every country has a basketball league. It's so funny.
well, we found out from Manny that Mexico is a women's hockey team.
Vamos, Astros de Jalisco.
I love living in 2025. I wouldn't give it up for a minute. People say we want to go back to the good old days. Where? When Mexico didn't have a women's hockey team? Why would you want to live in that world? Crazy. Bogusch, thank you. And I guess I'm sorry. I was offending you today. Okay, we have a lot of things to get to, including this crazy conversation that we got into yesterday. We'll tell you about it next.
You suck, Bogusch.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
a pick 'em. It started off as Bills favored by 1.5. I think now it's Ravens favored by 1.5. Like, it's flip-flopped. It's, as close as you can get. And they barely do pick 'ems anymore, really. As far as the other 3 games, though, and we've talked a lot about Bills-Ravens, and you're welcome to call on Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. We've talked about it all morning. But as far as the other games, where you have the Commanders have to go into Detroit, you've got the Houston Texans going to the Kansas City Chiefs, and then you've got the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Philadelphia. These are all bigger spreads, 8.5 points, 6 points. Who do you think is most likely to pull an upset out of those other 3 games? I'm not going to count Bills-Ravens as any kind of upset.
I'm probably wimping out because it's the smallest spread, but it's definitely the Rams, and by a large margin, because the Texans are not good on the road. There's no way they're going to Kansas City. Washington is facing a juggernaut of a Lions team. I love Jaden Daniels, but I just think Detroit is a team of destiny. Now let's talk about the Rams-Eagles. The Rams, since Puka Nacua came back from injury, they started out 1-4, are legitimately among the NFL's elite teams. They have a great pass rushing defense, and they have, obviously, Matthew Stafford, Hall of Fame quarterback, Cooper Kupp, Nacua, Kyron Williams is a great running back. Like, they right there talent-wise with the Philadelphia Eagles. The only reason the spread is so big, I think, is because it's in Philadelphia. So the question, and that's the only thing that makes me nervous. If this was in LA, I would pick the Rams confidently.
Really?
Yeah, I think I think Stafford would be really good. Last time the Rams played the Eagles during the regular season, Barkley ran all over the Rams. So that's the big problem. I still think it's a hard task to win this game, but that is much closer. It should be a much closer spread to me. And I think the Rams definitely have a chance if the game is close. Because Hurts does not look like himself after the concussion. The Eagles are not really firing on all cylinders. I feel like this is going to be a game.
Interesting. I don't see it that way. I don't want to just overthink it. I think the Eagles are the better team. The Rams were super impressive, but I think the Vikings helped out a lot there. Sam Darnold, once he saw a little bit of pressure, completely shirked from the moment and had a really bad game. So I don't see it that way. I think the Eagles' defense could be all over Stafford. It's possible. And if he can't move well, then I know Stafford can get the ball out quickly, but I think he could be under major duress. I know this is going to sound odd, and I picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, so I'm not naive here. But there's something about what the Texans found last week in their defense. This was a one-score game at halftime. It ended up being a one-score game anyway when these two teams met earlier this season. It was in Arrowhead. Chiefs won 27-19. It was a one-score game at halftime, and it was a low-scoring game from there on out. And I think what happened was Tank Dell got hurt in that game. Do you remember how awful that was? He had to get, I don't think he got ambulanced off the field, but it felt pretty close. He, I think, got taken out on a stretcher. It was bad. I think it rattled them and also hurt the offense. And they end up losing again by one score, 27-19. I think there's maybe something about the Texans getting another shot at Kansas City. And listen, I get it. Kansas City has basically had a vacation over the last couple weeks. Mm-hmm. They're definitely going to be healthy and all that. But is there a world where maybe the Texans can jump on them in the beginning and possibly because of the defense sit on a lead? I don't know. I think that's the formula, but that's what I was looking at here. Because I also don't think the Texans can be satisfied with just winning one playoff game. If I'm the Commanders, I don't know if this is real or imagined, but you've already overachieved this season. Mm-hmm. New head coach, rookie quarterback, you won a playoff game on the road. Everyone's going to be praising you. No one's going to say this was a disappointment of the season. I mean, they've done it. They've already achieved. The Texans are right back where they were a year ago.
Well, you got to remember, though, the Chiefs won 27-19. That was their biggest win of the year. That was a blowout in Chiefs terms. They play everyone close. Yeah, I would like to bet you head-to-head. Give me even odds on that, baby.
Oh, I mean,
it's in Arrowhead. Everything you said makes sense, but it's in Arrowhead.
855-212-4227. Coming up, we're ranking quarterbacks.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's going to be the game of the weekend. This is the best weekend of the year, of course. The NFL divisional round Bills, Ravens, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. No disrespect to the other matchups, Perloff, but this is by far the closest spread. So much on the line for these two quarterbacks, these two franchise. Well, maybe more for the Bills franchise because the Ravens have been so consistent.
Have a couple rings, yep.
But for these two quarterbacks, you can't understate it because they're both under tons and tons of pressure. Lamar has 2 MVPs, soon to be 3 likely, and no rings. Josh Allen has been knocking at the door for years, no MVPs, but everyone knows what a talent he is. But in the playoffs, despite him playing well in most of these playoff games, he's been not able to get it done either. Every part of this and just how even these two dudes are, they both got better this year. They're not turning the ball over. I mean, every single part of this is just shaping to be one of those legacy-defining games.
Except that because of the weather, it won't be a big passing game. So I don't know. Does that affect it at all? Like, I think and you and I are disagreeing a little. I think the weather is going to define this game. People are going to say, oh, you mean the cold game between Lamar and Josh. Just like the cold game with Miami, Kansas City last year. I don't think this is, unfortunately, I don't think either guy is going to pass the ball that much.
But they're both running quarterbacks. So we're going to still get that aspect. It's not like they're totally neutralized.
Right, but that's not what we're paying to see them run for 6 yards. We want to see the full capability. Like, do you know why Lamar is awesome this year? Because he does run, but he also will rip off a 30-yard dime, just the exact right spot. Now, Josh Allen's been doing a little bit less of that, his roll right and throw it 40 yards on a rope. That's because he doesn't have anyone to throw it to. But I think that all this, to me, the entire narrative is lending itself to help Josh Allen. Because I feel like a slower, more conservative game helps the Bills, where the number one offense in the NFL, the Ravens, would be better served in a fast-paced game.
It's funny, the irony of this whole thing is, it's about the quarterbacks, the legacies, all of that, but they both want to run the ball. And the Ravens ran the ball extremely effectively the first time these two teams played, which was all the way back in week 4, and Derrick Henry started the game off with an 87-yard touchdown. And it was like, oh.
Yeah, that's not happening this time. They're going to... Because of the cold, the safeties are going to be... Nobody's watching the receiver. Nobody's doubling Keon Coleman. Everybody's watching Derrick Henry. Although the Steelers were not. For some reason, the Steelers were not. Oh, the Steelers were against... Yeah, the Steelers kept on, would not put everybody in the box against Lamar and Derrick Henry. It was killing me.
It's crazy. We're going to rank the quarterbacks in just a moment, both the AFC and the NFC. But first, here is Lamar Jackson talking about the rivalry with Josh Allen, obviously same draft class. He says it's not friendly on the field, but later on, they'll be friends.
When we older, we'll probably laugh about it, but right now, it's serious. I ain't laughing with you.
Yeah, I like this. You know, it doesn't seem like it's not animosity, but I kind of like when guys aren't friends, especially because I'm rooting for one of these teams. So I've lived and died with these teams. I don't want quarterbacks yucking it up. Whatever you do behind the scenes is fine. You do you. But as far as publicly, we're along this ride with you. And the fans can't impact, we don't impact the game really except for the ones who are in the stadium. But I like it when there's a little bit of, it means so much to them, they're going to not be friends right now, and they're not going to be all chummy. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't buy any of that. There's no rivalry with Lamar Jackson anyone, because Lamar Jackson loves every human being on the planet. And we know it. What's the meanest thing Lamar Jackson has ever said about anybody? There's nothing. Find me a quote where Lamar Jackson has a negative thing to say about another human being, and I'd be shocked.
Okay, but Tom Brady never said negative things about guys in public, and he was a stone cold killer behind the scenes. They
not
all
Lamar.
are.
Not Lamar. Lamar is not. Lamar behind the scenes is, hey, let's hug and talk about how awesome you are. I watch Hard Knocks. I mean, it is crazy.
That's his own team, though.
He is 75% cheerleader. He didn't say anything bad about the other team. He's just man, I have so much respect for the other team when he's mic'd up. I don't think that he has a mean bone in his body. Maybe I'm totally misreading him.
I think it takes something different to get to this level. I think Mahomes gets salty about these guys all the time. He talks a ton of trash. Josh Allen talks a ton of trash.
Lamar's gets off the sideline. He's yeah, that was a tough loss, and then makes 3 jokes and somehow figures it all out. And it's the most. He's just look ahead, positive. There's no rivalry with Lamar and anybody. He's on a different plane as a person. I really believe that. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I could see it just doesn't feel like Bradshaw, Staubach, who are very different people, or Brady and Manning. I just can't see that happening. Am I crazy? Because I feel
I think they've got you fooled.
You think Lamar?
Is what I would say.
Not Lamar. I just don't think he has it in him. I think he's a genuinely good person. I am fooled.
He can be a genuinely good person. That's not what we're talking about. Like, what we're talking about is
I don't think
how
Lamar,
much they want to beat these guys.
Yeah, I don't think Lamar is even like, he doesn't seem like a guy who constantly comparing himself to others either. I think he
was during his contract negotiation. I think he definitely wanted the most money.
I think he's more. Lamar strikes me as somebody who's really focused on his own stuff. He does not like look around. But maybe I'm wrong. He doesn't seem like he's caught up with other people.
855-212-4227. We're asking you who's the better quarterback on X at Maggie and Pearl. Right now, Josh Allen's leading this like comfortably, which I'm pretty surprised about. You can go vote. We also have a side-by-side. Does Bogusch look like Quinn Ewers from Texas? And no is leading, which I think is not right. I think he does look like Quinn Ewers. I think we all think that. Meanwhile, let's rank some QBs. So the AFC might be a little bit easier, in my opinion, because if I'm ranking the 4 quarterbacks who are left, and we're just talking about right now, not all time. We can't talk about Jaden Daniels versus Matthew Stafford. Makes no sense. One guy's in year 16 and the other guy's in year 1. But if we're just talking about right now, the quarterbacks that you would want, I think Mahomes is still 1. I would put Allen 2, which is probably my fan bias, but also he is a much better playoff. He's been much better in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson, which is what I'm hanging my hat on. Then Lamar and then CJ Stroud. Do you see it any other way?
I might flip-flop. If it wasn't for the weather, I might flip-flop Lamar and Allen. In part, like this might be a cop-out, but Allen has no one to throw to. So I don't think like Allen's going to be able to win the game. I think they're going to have to play conservatively to make up for the pass game, where Baltimore can go either way. I think they're a little more explosive, so I'd give Lamar 2, Allen 3. Then, of course, Stroud 4, but Stroud played really well, by the way, last week. That sounds like a denigration to say he's 4th, but look at it. He's got 3 surefire Hall of Famers ahead of him.
Then on the NFC, I think this gets a little bit more tricky.
Yes, much trickier.
Okay, so how are you ranking the 4 NFC quarterbacks who are left?
Matthew Stafford 1, Jared Goff 2, Jaden Daniels 3, Jalen Hurts 4.
Wow, you really are not loving Jalen Hurts right now. You are down on Hurts.
No, I mean, I think he's got... Actually, it's funny. I was looking at 3 really good quarterbacks ahead of him, but... there's no slouches in this list. I don't think Hurts is afraid of anybody. Like he went into the Super Bowl 2 years ago and went mano a mano with Mahomes, but he looked really, really rusty last week. He looked very uncomfortable coming off the concussion. I think he's actually a distant 4th this week. I don't think he's going to throw a lot.
I know this is going to sound crazy. I think of the NFC quarterbacks that I would want right now, I think Jaden Daniels is number 1. And it's only the fact that he's a rookie that I think he is at this major disadvantage for this game because he's just never been this deep in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Jared Goff on the other side has been to a Super Bowl, been to an multiple NFC championship games. I think Jaden Daniels is actually the best, playing the best. Stafford was awesome against the Vikings. Stafford was awesome against the Vikings, period, full stop. I can't say anything else. But I just think that Stafford, I'm worried about him in this Eagles game. I am. I'm worried he's going to get hurt, actually. I'm worried that the Eagles defense is just going to be all over him.
You have to murder Matthew Stafford to get him off the field.
I never said he'd leave the field.
Yeah.
I just think he could get banged up. The dude's as tough as anybody. Am I crazy to think that Jaden Daniels is the best NFC quarterback left?
I think...
You think I'm crazy?
Yeah.
By the way, I think hot Goff is hot. I mean, Goff, Stafford's obviously won a Super Bowl. He's got like the most postseason success, but Goff, when like last year's Niners game, like he got screwed by his receivers, dropped the ball. Like he can be near perfect, which is funny because I don't think he's the most talented or best quarterback.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not putting Goff ahead of him.
I mean, I'd be shocked if Jared Goff did not have a great playoff.
There's something about Jaden Daniels, and maybe you could say I'm just I'm picking and choosing here, and I'll grant you that. But there is something about him playing his best when they absolutely need him to go on a drive.
Yeah, he's great at that.
How do you have that as a rookie?
Wow, Jaden Daniels. Look at that. Well, he's a little older. He's 23. He's transferred, so he's not a normal rookie.
It's like he's a rookie, but playing his absolute best when the game is on the line. And I'm not saying that Matthew Stafford doesn't. He's probably going to the Hall of Fame. there's just something I weirdly trust the most. I trust Jaden Daniels the most, needing to go down and get a score. Maybe I'm crazy.
It feels a little prisoner in the moment, Maggie. He's fourth on my list on this.
Really?
Why would you?
But that's a rookie bias.
I don't know if it's a bias. I think it's also like I'm taking the totality of his season. I think because they've won these games in these miraculous fashions. I'm not saying that it's luck or he deserves credit for it, but in some ways, I think it does take away from like the other 59 minutes of some of these games when the Commanders have struggled or their offense has kind of gone stale. And he's a great player, but I mean, Stafford has a ring. How is he not number one? I don't know. He has a ring. I mean, Jalen Hurts has been in the Super Bowl and threw 4 touchdowns or ran for 4 touchdowns. Like,
I know, but EJ, it's not a lifetime
players.
achievement award. That's not what we're doing on these rankings. I'm not ranking Matthew Stafford's career versus Jaden Daniels. Of course, there's no conversation there.
It's not like this is ancient history. We're not talking about Jim Kelly and Dan Marino like we were earlier today. This is like 2-3 years ago. These guys were in these positions.
I know, but I'm just saying right now, I think Jaden Daniels is the best of these 4 quarterbacks right now. Perloff said it. Hurts doesn't look that awesome. Yeah. Jared Goff, I think, can get moved off his spot. Let's see what happens. Maybe not in this game. Maybe they win this game 50-10. I have no idea. I think Daniels is the best because he also is a running threat too.
Look at that. Yeah, and listen, Stafford ain't running anywhere. Although he has run a little bit more this year, which is always funny. He looks like me running. I just think Stafford, if you're at a real close game, he's going to make some big throws. Like his arm talent has gone nowhere. He still throws some beautiful passes in the clutch. Listen, all 3 are close. I'm not poo-pooing you at all. BC does have the run threat. He's great in the clutch. I think he's definitely fallen off a little bit in the second half of the year. I mean, he started out like MVP. It's not right. He's also got the Cliff thing where people catch up to Cliff's plays. He looked amazing once Kenny Pickett came in against him of the Eagles, but they were about to get boat race in that game. So it's been weird. And he looked terrible. I don't know if you guys watched that Cowboys game at the end of the season. Like he was like, he just didn't, the offense didn't look right. The end of the day, by the way, he could be the best quarterback by tenfold. The issue is Washington. Is that defense going to hold up against Detroit?
I don't know.
So like I don't think so. He's almost in a tough spot anyway. It's like that's why the debate, like Jaden Daniels could really, really play well and still not come out looking as good as Jared Goff.
Well, what the Commanders have going against them going to Detroit is obviously Detroit's a great team. They've been an amazing team all season, but they have that combination of they're a great team and they haven't won anything yet. So there's no way you're catching them off guard, right?
Yeah,
like
they
there's
should be
maybe a slight 2% chance that maybe the Texans catch the Chiefs off guard. Maybe. I don't know, but maybe.
The Chiefs have been playing down to everybody, so that makes some sense.
Like the Detroit Lions have to be looking at the fact that the Packers got knocked out. They've got the number 1 seed. Like this is all shaping up awesome for them.
Well,
Tampa got knocked out. I mean, this is a team that played them tough last year in the playoffs. Like everything is breaking right, except for the fact that they'll have to play your Eagles most likely if things go chalk. But at least they get to do it at home.
Oh my God, they would be thrilled to see they don't want to see the Rams. The Rams are definitely kryptonite for the Lions, but at least it'll be a close game. You start off talking about how much Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen need to win. The Detroit Lions need to win more than anybody. That would be the most. If they lost this game, that would be the most heartbreaking playoff loss. Because they haven't won a Super Bowl or championship since 1957. Everything, like to lose at home to arguably the worst team in the field, that would be terrible, right? Don't you agree?
And I don't see any evidence of that. Like they don't lay eggs.
No, I know. That's why I'm saying, like, if they did lose this game, the Chiefs losing the Texans would be bad. I think the Lions losing the Commanders would be far worse.
Devastating.
Because the Chiefs have 2 rings.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. But that's why I don't think you're going to catch the Lions off guard. You're not going to be able to catch them, resting on their laurels or anything like that. But I'll agree with you. Yeah, of course, it'd be devastating. Devastating. I mean, especially because they're about to lose both of their coordinators. Like, you're not getting the band back together next year for another go-round.
Yeah, you still have you've had a great GM who's been picking a lot of talent. I wouldn't count them out. That was a very depressing statement for Lions fans. You're accurate, but depressing.
What's that?
That they're losing both coordinators, you put it that way.
Well, I mean, you're paying attention to this coaching search, right?
No, I know you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. You're absolutely accurate. But it feels like a do or die year for them because the Eagles are banged up. Yeah, they really should come out of the NFC now. And I think they will. If we're saying this. Like, I think what I'm hearing from you is you're pretty confident in Detroit.
That is not the upset that I would pick, even though I do think Jaden Daniels is the best NFC quarterback left. 855-212-4227. All right, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, who do you think is the better quarterback? We started talking a little about ring culture, too, and about, do you like this about sports today? Where it feels like, the way at least I define ring culture, if you don't win, it's like nothing matters. And who said as much? I think on the broadcast, was it Troy Aikman said this about the Vikings.
It became personal with me.
He said, you lose this game, what did the season mean? Nothing. And I get where he's coming from. I'm talking more about the champion runner-up, like the Super Bowl runner-up. We were talking about quarterbacks that didn't win rings but had great careers like Jim Kelly or Dan Marino. Would you rather be Mark Rippon? Would you rather be Joe Flacco than Jim Kelly? Because I think there's a lot of people, especially today, because rings are the thing. Not that they weren't in the 70s and 80s, but we become this crazy obsessed ring culture where if you don't win, you sucked. And
Joe Flacco?
And I don't think, that always makes me laugh. I don't think it's that black and white.
I feel like sometimes that's skewed, though. I don't know if that's necessarily true because, I'm thinking about it now. Like, I feel like we always talk about, like, Randy Moss's rookie year, how the Vikings were just killing people. Or I know the Patriots lost that last game, but we still talk about how amazing the Patriots were.
But what if the Patriots have all these other championships, right?
Yeah, like, maybe that's not the greatest example.
How do people talk about Russell Westbrook?
He's a special case. I think I kind of remove him from it because there's other stuff. Russ seems kind of like an ornery character, so people don't like him. But I think a lot of these guys, like, people love Charles Barkley now. Like, and people talk about great
25 years of him doing media.
Right, but we're talking about now, though, right? Like
Barkley was beloved the day he left the court. He's awesome in media. It's because of media, but yeah. But I don't think you're saying that people don't love the guy. It's like people love Jim Kelly.
Yeah, people love Jim Kelly. I'm just saying I don't think they respect their careers as much. We had a caller call in and say nobody talks about Jim Kelly as a top 10 quarterback of all time.
Whatever your name is.
And if he had won one of those Super Bowls, we would have.
Yeah, totally. Does anyone disagree?
I think to Perloff's point, that seems fair though. Jim Kelly, he's a Kane. I love Jim Kelly.
No, but because Scott Norwood missed a field goal, we don't talk about Jim Kelly. Like you're not. It's not right. It's not correct.
But he falls from he would be like number 8, and he falls to 14. It's not like he falls off the planet. Like we still respect Jim Kelly. But yeah, definitely. Like you got to find a way to rank guys, and that is a big one. And obviously, Marino is the ultimate exception. Like Marino ain't falling on anybody's list, even though he didn't win a Super Bowl. Because you could be so good that, and I think Marino qualifies that it doesn't matter if you won a Super Bowl. Would you agree that Dan Marino's the one exception to not winning a ring judgment? Because Marino
but nobody talks about him. I don't think a lot of people put him in their top 5. Because I think Elway nudges him out because Elway got the 2 at the end.
Yeah, but Marino, there are a lot of experts who put him way, way high, much higher than anyone else without a ring. Marino...
He's much higher, than everyone without a ring, but you're saying it doesn't matter for Marino, and I'm saying it still does.
Yeah, I think Marino, though, it does matter, but he's the one guy who elevates over the non-ring thing to get really high on lists. He'll be 5, where nobody else could do that.
855-212-4227. I think people don't put him top 5 because of the ring thing. I think it's more Brady, Montana, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and I think Elway gets that last one or whatever because of the ring. And think about how we've changed in society, even just in the last 20 years or so, where Aaron Rodgers, for a lot of people, is looked at as a disappointment because he only won one. That's ring culture out of control, too. One's not enough.
It's weird, though, with Rodgers. I think he's kind of like Russell Westbrook, though, because we don't do that with Favre. Favre has one. He should have won way more.
Yeah, I think we do it with Favre a little bit.
He was beloved before.
Yeah, people did it with Favre a lot.
I think people do it with Favre. I think people do it with Peyton Manning, except for Perloff.
Brett Favre.
I think before Favre had all this other nonsense, I feel like before he was the John Madden meme, Brett Favre, that's what we think of him.
Because he's kind of like What is Favre before all the scandals? He was like a folk hero.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
Favre,
Aaron
but
Rodgers is
everybody
not that.
thinks like Favre left 1 or 2 on the table, probably because he was partying too much. I mean, I think he got caught up in or something happened, something personality happened. The loss of the Broncos, talking about a devastating loss. That was insane. That was supposed to be his second Super Bowl win.
But Favre to me is kind of like the 85 Bears or the 86 Mets. To me, we don't look at them, again, maybe a little different because of the off-the-field stuff recently, but I think we looked at them still like unbelievable, larger-than-life characters, but despite the fact that maybe they were a quote-unquote disappointment. I think because we don't like Aaron Rodgers, people don't like Russell Westbrook, those guys get hammered more for not winning enough.
Yeah. Interesting. 855-212-4227. Okay, lots to do. You're welcome to weigh in. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, right there on a silver platter Sunday night. Good way to finish the weekend. And then the idea about ring culture. Are we getting out of control here?
Ha 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 ha.
There's also an all-time story that's going around, an admission that happened in sports media, and it got us thinking a lot about stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't get to see. We'll get to that next. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff show. I see something on this rundown for our show today that I didn't know that we dealt in outright lies. Is that what we're doing now? Like fiction? Is this a fiction show? Are we a fan fiction here?
Well, we are part of the media.
Because there is one story that came up last night, and I decided not to weigh in on it because I want to do it now. This is the biggest bunch of baloney I've ever heard in my entire life, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Is it that Bogusch looks like Quinn Ewers?
No,
the internet
that's
says that's not true.
Well, they're blind because to say that those two guys don't look alike. And you said that everybody has the same shape face. Like, they have a very unique shape face. Anyway, I'm talking about LeBron James. This is hot garbage. This story is so stupid. Why would we believe LeBron, who's been lying to us about small, irrelevant things for 15 years? Nothing big, nothing real.
Yeah.
But the guy is a stone cold fibber.
Yeah, claiming he saw The Godfather, clearly didn't. Other weird lies. Okay, so here's LeBron on the Kelsey Brothers podcast, New Heights podcast, tells a story. This story's been out there, by the way. LeBron didn't bring this up. Ron Artest brought this up. But here's the story of LeBron playing in a infamous, epic, legendary, whatever you want to call it, pickup game against Michael Jordan and others when LeBron was 16 years old.
So when I finally was able to get on the court, first of all, MJ, Antoine Walker, and the rest of those guys did not let young guys get on the court at all. And I was 16 years old. I was sophomore in high school. And it takes a while to get on the court. It's usually when the older guys, they get tired and they don't want to play no more. They like whatever. But I did. And I was able to get on the court alongside. I was on the court with Michael Jordan, Antoine Walker, Penny Hardaway, Ron Artest, Michael Finley, all these guys.
And, who was guarding LeBron?
Who guarded you?
Nobody. I was unguardable. Listen, I was 16. I was high school sophomore.
More from LeBron on this legendary pickup basketball game against Michael Jordan and company when he was a sophomore in high school.
When I finally got out there, I was like, I'm busting ass, man. I was nervous. I was nervous as hell, being out there with MJ and the rest of those guys. But I'm
Are you kidding me?
I was like, I'm about to go crazy, and I did, man.
That's awesome, man.
I did.
I don't know why you don't believe this. Number one, Ron Artest is the one who brought it up and corroborates that LeBron did play this well.
Okay. The noted historian, Meta World Peace corroborated.
Yeah. He weirdly lied about his age.
I'm not saying he didn't play, he's overstating how good he was. That's what I'm saying.
Well, listen, to be fair to LeBron, he says, I had to wait till all the older guys were tired. So he knew that he was taking on... It's not like everyone was at full strength. They had already been playing pickup for, I don't know, a couple hours before he was able to get on the court.
Listen, this reminds me, we had O'Shea Jackson Jr. on last week about his dad messing around and getting a triple-double in a pickup game. Like, this is, like, I just think whatever happened on that pickup court, I'm sure LeBron was fantastic. He's the second best player in the history of the sport. I just think it's implying that he whooped Michael Jordan when he was 16. That's a takeaway. When I read that headline, basically LeBron destroys Michael Jordan when he's 16 in a pickup game. That was kind of the implied message of that whole story.
It definitely was, but he did say that they were tired. He kind of caught him, I think, and he was all ready to go. However, this would not be like LeBron's other fibs. we can't really prove if LeBron ever saw The Godfather. It sounds like he's lying when he's asked about the movie, and it's so silly. Why would you lie? Just tell the truth. We've got all these other people to corroborate this.
Wait, you can't prove
Antoine
it.
Walker.
Do you have any film?
Never met a Mike he didn't like. Penny Hardaway, literally coaching college basketball. He might have a game tonight. You could ask him about it. Michael Finley can't be that hard to track down. All the people who were here, we can get the story from them. So he can't be lying about this, or else all these other people are going to come out and say that he's a liar. LeBron lies about stuff you can't corroborate. He said he knew Kobe Bryant was going to score 81.
But those are finite facts. How good a guy played in a pickup game, you can't basically, it's not something that you can prove. The only proof would be if we had film of this game. We actually saw it. What is Michael Finley going to say? No, LeBron wasn't good. That doesn't mean anything. It's not like a specific thing. Did you see The Godfather? It's not a black and white issue. It's how well did this guy play in a pickup game?
I know, but
I could come in on Monday and be I just dominated my pickup game. It's obviously there's no proof one way or the other.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you came in Monday and said, guys, I dominated my pickup basketball game on Saturday, then we're well, here's Donnie, and he was there too. He could come in and be Perloff sucked in the basketball
game. Then Josh would be Perloff played pretty well. Then Mark would be nah, I don't think so. I think he was, he didn't cut to the basket well enough. This is so subjective. So, that's my point. It's not like LeBron saying, I knew Kobe. I told somebody Kobe's going to score 81. It's totally subjective.
So if there's no film, it didn't happen?
I don't think he dominated to the level that he told in this story.
Because there's no film of Wilt's 100-point game, so did that happen?
Oh, jeez. Gen Z and their stupid Wilt score 100. And Helen Keller didn't exist. You guys are awful.
Wait, what?
That's a famous one. There's you guys know the Helen Keller thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gen Z thinks that Helen Keller didn't exist because there's no film, or she's a plant or something.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's what it got us thinking about. First of all, I do think I don't know, you guys have played 100 times more pickup basketball game than I've ever played. But I think you kind of know whether a guy played well or didn't play well.
Yeah, I don't agree with Perloff's take on
Oh, get out of here. First of all, you probably, you might think you played well, or other people are that guy's a corn dog or something. It's not yes, I do think that he's overstating how well he played.
Okay, the second part of this whole cool story that LeBron told to the Kelsey brothers about being in this pickup basketball game with Michael Jordan and all that when LeBron was 16. It made me think, what are the other things in sports that you wish you could have been a fly on the wall for? Because none of us got to be here. I don't know if any fans were here. I'm sure Stephen A. Smith will probably somehow Stephen A. was there. I don't know. But this would have been cool. There's only one other one I could really think of, which is 1992 Dream Team, the famous scrimmage that happened, I think, in France, actually, before they went to Barcelona. Maybe it was in Monaco. I think it was in Monaco. Jack McCallum wrote about this in his book about the Dream Team. This all-time amazing, super competitive Dream Team on Dream Team scrimmage that happened before the Olympics started.
And it wasn't filmed?
There might be some, I don't know. But Jack McCallum was there. He wrote about it.
I have no doubt. When Apollo and Rocky met and it was after the film, dude, to be there for that event.
Where, the craft services table or the trailer?
No. You remember, he's Apollo wanted to see him. They really wanted to battle out, not with all the fanfare. That's where you want to be a fly on the wall.
Oh, and they're about to punch each other, and then the movie fades
That was
to
about
black.
as real as LeBron dominating MJ in a pickup game when he was 16. No. So wait, but what you're saying is things that were not televised, not fly on the wall when Nick Foles and Doug Peterson came up with Philly. You mean things that we did not have access to.
Exactly.
I got to think about that because there's got to be
all-time great pickup games, all that stuff. There's another infamous one where, and this has not a great ending, but it's Michael Jordan making Tyson Chandler and Eddie Curry play one-on-one to see who they were going to select number one between the Wizards. Was it?
It's Kwame.
Kwame, thank you. Kwame
Tyson and Kwame.
And Tyson. Thank you. Sorry.
Well, no. Didn't oh, okay. But did Eddie Curry and Tyson go in the same draft? Or am I
that's
crazy?
Chicago. They went to Chicago.
Oh, so
Jordan
he took Kwame.
Jordan was famous running the Wizards, and he put
Before
two
he came
centers
back.
against each other and said, let's see who plays one-on-one. The winner will be the number one pick. And Kwame somehow won.
Kwame won. He gets the number one pick. I guess I would have wanted to be a fly on the wall if Kwame Brown ended up having a great career, but he's a punchline, so it didn't matter as much.
I run into more conspiracies. The first thing I ran to was, did the frozen envelope happen? Like,
you want to be in the room?
I want to be in the room where they're doing
David
the ping pong
Stern.
balls to see if it actually went down or not. You know?
Yeah,
I want to be in the room when the Patriots are doing Spygate. Like, how much of an advantage did it actually give them?
Wow, but there's not a lot of mystery
some?
about that. Like, everyone knows. That one, I can kind of like, we kind of know what happened. That one, I wouldn't put it the same thing.
I get
Spygate is very proved. The frozen envelope, I'm with EJ. I want to see.
We are the New York Knicks.
What other fly on the wall moments would you have liked to have been there for sports? The backroom stuff.
How about when Robert Redford struck out the Babe Ruth character in the beginning of Natural? That was at a county
movie.
fair.
Again, going back to conspiracies. I want to see Kurt chilling in the sock. Is it ketchup? Is it blood?
I want to know why Bill Belichick sat Malcolm Butler.
That's a good one.
Tanya Harding plotting against Nancy Kerrigan.
How do you remember that? Did you watch the movie?
Yes.
Hi, Tanya.
Good movie. All right, 855-212-4227. Yeah, what would you have liked to been a fly on the wall for?
Weirdly enough, the Chiefs tell stories about Patrick Mahomes shredding them all year in practice. It's like this scout team guy. He was doing this I would love to have seen those practices. Like, what's a young Patrick Mahomes with basically no filter doing against the Chiefs number ones?
Or Kareem wasn't allowed to play as a freshman, and apparently, they were going against a national champion UCLA team, and they would play the freshmen against the seniors, and he would just dominate them. And they had just won 4 straight national titles. It would kill them.
I don't know if I need the footage for that. I 100% believe it, but I would have liked to seen it. Okay, 855-212-4227. Bogusch, quickly, some headlines. I didn't leave you a lot of time here, pal.
Guys, I'm nothing if not fair and balanced. So after Nick's snark last hour, I present the Brooklyn Nets.
Zubats hands to Powell, coming to the top of the key to the foul line, squeezing through defender, shot goaltended by Nick Claxton. So the first points of the game come on a Claxton goaltend.
The first game ever to end on an opening goaltend. Brooklyn only slightly better last night at scoring in its own net, losing 126-67. The lead was as large as 64. The final margin of 59 is simultaneously the largest win in Clippers history and the biggest Nets loss ever. So how you doing, head coach Jordi Fernandez?
This is not the time to point or deflect anything. It's time to everybody own, and I will own first.
Yeah.
It's whenever something bad happens, it's never the time to talk about it, This bad happened. This isn't the time to point fingers. This is exactly the time to point fingers. If not now, when?
The guys that played for the Nets last night wouldn't even make the Sixers roster.
It's a schedule loss.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Also in L.A. last night, the Lakers rallied past the Heat 117-108 to snap a 3-game skid. LeBron and Anthony Davis each scoring 22. The Rockets pushed their win streak to 7, 128-108 in Denver. The Nuggets didn't have Nikola Jokic or Aaron Gordon. And the Hawks won in Chicago 110-94, despite our friend Trae Young out with sore ribs. So a gentleman named Keaton Wallace led Atlanta with 27 points and 6 assists. Daquan Plowden added 19.
Who are these people?
They were Atlanta Hawks, or at least for last night.
No, these are 2K generated players. You created these men.
Men's college hoops, Iowa State down Kansas 74-57 in a top 10 Big 12 clash, and 10th-ranked Houston took care of West Virginia 70-54. On the women's side, Paige Beckers was back from her knee injury, scoring 12 points in 23 minutes in number 6 UConn's 71-45 win at St. John's. And congrats to Patriots QB Drake May, recently getting engaged to his high school sweetheart, Ann Hudson. Sweet photos released yesterday on a beach.
Very cute.
All right, Maggie, you're out of this conversation. Okay. What do you guys think of quarterbacks who can date any woman on earth? They all get married at 21 years old. Thoughts are 22 years old.
It seems, how do we say this nice? It seems counterproductive.
Yes, what were we out there at 28, 29,
to what, buddy?
desperately trying to get a date? These guys, they have every woman on earth they can date, and they all get married at 21 years old.
Why do you think the divorce rate is so high among pro athletes? I mean, keeping it 100.
Well,
I think the divorce rate is high amongst everybody.
Yeah, I know, but I mean...
I know that you said I can't weigh in on this conversation. But
of course you can. Yeah.
Can I give what if it just saves you a lot of grief
I
and
think it
headaches
does.
too?
I think you're afraid that any woman who comes up to you is going to have nefarious intentions.
Right. So you maybe you're like, listen, the person who was with me when I was, not the Drake May, when I was just Luke's brother.
Yeah.
Maybe I can trust that
Well,
person.
I
a little
also
bit
do
more.
think,
They still get divorced, so I don't know if that's even true.
Nah, just use me.
A lot of them are.
Manny would love to get used for a little bit.
A lot of them.
Yes, I am the Drake May.
Very serious about religion. A lot of them, and you probably not believe this, a lot of them will not be intimate until they get married. Like a lot of them. I'm dead serious.
I mean, that's
serious.
That's definitely a thing.
I mean, listen, we're not there, and I don't want to be there. And what goes on in someone's own private bedroom is their own thing. But also,
attaboy Tebow.
ha ha.
Attaboy Tebow.
See that? Tim Tebow's having a kid.
Okay.
I did have a follow up though for Maggie.
I disagree with all you guys on that one, but go ahead.
Okay.
Were you surprised when your husband proposed to you?
Yeah. Not shocked. We'd been dating for a long time, but I was very pleasantly surprised. It was great. He went so above and beyond. I was amazed.
Because the first picture released is her on the beach, like with her hands on her face, like she's stunned, and they're dressed coordinatedly, and there's a rose bed next to them on the beach. Like she knew she was going to the beach for something.
Yeah.
And I hope that was all the time. Like,
yes.
yeah. I'm not saying you shouldn't be excited, but the surprise, like, oh, I didn't know what was going on. And I had to wear this nice dress, and my family's over my shoulder,
right.
and there's a photographer.
So she acted.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought Haley Steinfeld too. It's like I'm so surprised, and Josh Allen said, she told me, like, what are you waiting for? I'd like to believe I'm remembering this correctly. I don't recall ever giving my husband any kind of ultimatum. Finally! Live footage. I was more surprised that Tyler Bass kicked that field goal and won that game. Finally! I don't think I said finally. That's what I was thinking in my head.
That's the best use of that clip ever. You might have to retire it.
No, but there was, my family wasn't there, but there was a photographer hiding in the bushes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He had coordinated this whole thing.
Yeah, I thought about all that. It just seemed, I don't know. I thought
blah.
For me, I thought that Andre would find out. So.
Yeah, mine was private. We were on our own. Like I was kind of told, I wasn't told, but like it had come up that like it was just supposed to be us.
So here's the part on the woman's side of this. There's a little bit where you have to let a little bit go. If you want to be surprised, you also have to let a few things slide. You got to pretend you didn't hear a couple things.
Right.
You've got to let yourself be surprised. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of.
Like, don't ask too many questions.
Right. You know it's
like,
coming, but you don't know it's coming on Wednesday.
Right. Or, I think my husband said something like, oh, can you wear that dress that I like today? And I wasn't like, why? Why do I have to wear that dress that you like today? I just put it on. And then we just sort of went on our way. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like, go with the flow. Crap.
That's what Maggie actually said when she was
I actually said in my head, I was like, crap. No. Crap. All right, I think that's it. Well, not for the show. We got plenty more to do, including I got Perloff. Can I speak your language for a second? Weather update. Going to impact these playoff games. We'll tell you about it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Hyundai. Now you can buy a new Hyundai from the comfort of your home at Amazon. Visit HyundaiUSA.com for more details. Wait, what's this music from, EJ?
Daredevil.
Oh, I saw the trailer. The new Daredevil. Maggie is, of course, clueless to this. Daredevil's coming back on Netflix, right?
Oh, Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. One of the great non-movie Marvel characters of all time. Daredevil, who, of course, was a blind crime fighter. Super cool.
True story?
Yeah, totally true story. Somebody's got to clean up New York. It's about time someone steps up and fixes this town. It's really cool. And the trailer looks really good.
Wasn't it
I'm
Ben
actually a big
Affleck?
fan. Yeah, but they did a movie version like a Hollywood. Then they did this sort of gritty Netflix version. Is that fair to say, EJ?
Yeah, Ben Affleck was the terrible movie version, and then Charlie Cox was the TV version.
Yeah, Charlie Cox, who's outstanding, who turns out, first interview I ever saw him, totally British, playing a New Yorker. Kills it.
I'm sorry. Can I talk about important things for a moment? Can I give you a weather update for what's happening in Buffalo on Sunday night, or are you guys want to talk more about something?
Yeah, because nobody likes Marvel. No, nobody cares about that.
You guys keep telling me how much it sucks. It's fallen off. The movies, they're not as good.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah. Ant-Man 2 is an abomination.
I'm on the sidelines of so many of these conversations, but not now, not today. Let's talk weather. The update in Buffalo, more specifically Orchard Park, New York.
Is it a difference? I'm actually, because of the lake effect?
50% snow showers now. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That changes things.
But I actually, wasn't the thing that early in the game and it's going to clear out? That's what they said, but I have no idea. Tell me about lake effect for a second.
Well, lake effect, that's a whole other situation. That's when it moves in. We're past the lake effect part of it. Lake effect is usually a little earlier on in the winter. This is just Buffalo. So it can snow at any time, at any moment.
Damn right it does.
That's why.
Episodes of Thunder Snow.
I want to lock in. We do picks on Friday. Can I lock in that spread right now? Can I pick the Buffalo Bills plus 1.5 points?
No, we make the picks tomorrow.
Oh, I know as a fact that's going to come down, and it's annoying me.
I mean, Derrick Henry can run in the snow.
He's never done it before.
Ever?
His coldest game was 22. I actually read all. Yeah, I have no idea how Derrick Henry plays it cold. There's not a ton of evidence. He was in Nashville. There were some cold games, but not a lot.
I'm sorry, I didn't step on you.
Yeah.
It looks like a chance of snow now in Philadelphia as well. I don't know if you saw that coming.
That is good. That's good. Yeah, LA, their skin has gotten thin. They're not used to this cold. Stafford doesn't want the cold.
I think just playing outdoors in general gives the Philadelphia Eagles an advantage.
Huge
the
advantage.
Snow, I think, changes things as well.
Playing the Link is a big home field. I think Arrowhead's a big home field.
I don't know how much the snow changes this Ravens-Bills game. Now, I'm also looking at winds only 5 miles per hour.
You don't think the snow changes this Ravens-Bills game?
No, because they both want to run the ball.
I'm also taking I want to lock in the under 51.5. I mean, what are we talking about here? I do not understand. Am I getting suckered by these spreads? It's going to be 8 degrees, possibly snowing. How are they going to get their offenses going?
It's going to be 27-25, watch.
What I'm thinking
totally.
is I think you're going to have a lot of going for it on fourth down, feeling like you have to play just absolutely aggressive even in this weather.
Or maybe you also have some turnovers in the red zone. Turnovers like I can see that is an issue for me.
The snow might help the turnovers,
but also the cold. Like, will Lamar Jackson be more vulnerable to getting hit and fumbling?
He has 3 postseason lost fumbles in his career. Like, he doesn't fumble.
3 postseason lost fumbles? That's not. Is that a good
7 games. I mean, it's not like he's fumbling the ball all over the place.
That's not a good stat. That's a bad stat.
I don't know. I never think of Lamar as this big.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying 8 degrees. Lamar will give it up. He had a fumble recently.
4 picks this season, the whole season.
No, I'm talking about fumbles.
And fumbles, I don't think barely had any this year. And Josh Allen's cut down on all his turnovers too, but the snow might impact that. 855-212-4227. Poll question today, who's the better quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen? Lots more to do, including is one of the coaches in the national championship game about to leave?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Simple question, not a simple answer. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, who's the better QB? It's an unanswerable question. But it's also not a beauty in the eye of the beholder question, Perloff, if you just want to go through the numbers. If you just go to the numbers, Lamar Jackson has better numbers. He also has more help.
The thing about Lamar Jackson's numbers, and until this year, like he's never thrown for 5,000 yards like Matthew Stafford. Like he's always had less pass attempts than some of the other elite quarterbacks.
Well, he hasn't had Megatron either, but I get your point.
Well, I know he's never been in a passing well, give me a break, Matthew. Did Megatron never had any other, Megatron without Stafford? I'm just saying, like, he's never been, like, Mahomes had a 50 touchdown season where he threw for 5,000 yards. Lamar is a different thing because he's always had this heavy run balance, too. The heaviest in the history of the NFL.
Yep.
By like a mile. He's shattered every quarterback running record. So I think it's hard to judge Lamar against other quarterbacks because he's just different.
But don't you think Josh Allen kind of gets the same thing? He also, running is a huge part of his game.
Big, but not as huge.
Not as huge. And Josh Allen has the better postseason numbers, not just because he's played in more games. So like the counting numbers would all be better.
Yeah.
But even just the quarterback rating, the amount of turnovers and the percentage of turnovers and things like that. Josh Allen has played better in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson. That's just it. Now, that narrative totally flips on his head if Lamar Jackson has a fantastic game on Sunday and Josh Allen doesn't.
100%. And there's no way to argue. I mean, Lamar came up small last year in the AFC title game. I thought the coaching staff did not have a great game plan offensively, but that was such a huge disappointment. At home against a Kansas City team that was struggling, you couldn't even get more than 10 points.
Nope. And self-inflicted stuff with bad penalties. And, listen, Zay Flowers trying to make a great play, reaching out at the goal line, but you can't do that.
And why did Lamar run in that game? He talked about, I saw a press conference. He's like, yeah, my mom yelled at me afterwards for not running more. He had opportunities, but for some reason, the coaching staff said, we have to throw it against Kansas City. And it just didn't work out at all. What do you expect, by the way, not take us off course, on Sunday, if it is as cold and maybe snowy? Do you expect like 15 runs from Lamar and maybe 10 runs or 8 or 9 runs from Josh Allen?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Now, maybe Lamar can afford to do fewer because of the Derrick Henry aspect of it. But I think Josh is still going to, even with James Cook and they have Ty Johnson and whatever, he's still going to have to run. Maybe if it's third and medium.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, I just can't imagine if it's snowy. Now it's a 50% chance of snow. So in Buffalo, that's like 80%. Man, he knows what I'm talking about. He went to college up there.
That's the math. That's
like the
80%.
Filter. Yeah. It's like you talk about there's like a Jets filter.
Yeah,
like if you're a Jets quarterback that threw 20 touchdowns, that means 50. There's a Buffalo weather filter. 50% means get your stuff.
It's going to snow.
It's going to snow.
Maggie, what if I could tell you right now, I'll give you James Cook gets 25 carries on Sunday. Would you take that right now?
Yes.
That means you won, right? Probably.
I don't know if it means you won. It means the game was close, which it was not in Week 4. Week 4, Derrick Henry started off the game, Sunday night game in Baltimore, with an 87-yard touchdown run. And the Ravens won 35-10.
Right. No Matt Milano, no Bernard.
Yep.
It was a different team. Very banged up.
Especially at the linebacker position.
Yes. I remember because I was sitting next to a depressed person for 4 or 5 weeks because the defense wasn't right.
Yeah, and they lost to the Texans too. It was tough. But to be fair, knock on wood, for Buffalo, things are a little bit healthier. And to be honest, I think there's another reason why this game is so big. It's the Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen of it all. It's the fact that both of these guys are kind of in a similar spot, highly touted, lots of flowers, lots of fame, lots of money, lots of everything, but haven't been to the Super Bowl and haven't won it. And I think the other part of this too, and man, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. This feels like the year the Chiefs are gettable. Now, you got to go to their place.
Yeah.
I already regret saying this.
Yeah.
But there's that part of it. And I know last year we thought they were gettable too, and they didn't. But there's something about
no one got them.
Maybe you think if you just get by this game, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, last year the Chiefs really should not have gotten to the Super Bowl. The Baltimore Ravens should have beat them. The Baltimore Ravens were amazing last year. Remember they beat like the Lions 40-6? They were rolling through everybody.
No, not should. They had the home field. They were the favorite team. The Ravens blew it.
Yeah. By the way, when you said both quarterbacks have their flowers, I just want to disagree.
Yeah,
with
not say.
Only one of them has flowers. #dad joke. My dad joke brain immediately jumped all over that statement.
I just didn't want to say vibes.
And by the way, neither quarterback might have their flowers this time. And I don't know. One thing that whether if there's no Zay Flowers and the Ravens don't have the receivers that means they'll have to throw their tight ends. And cold weather game, that's not a bad thing.
No, but the Buffalo Bills also have good pass catching tight ends.
Yeah, I know, but unfortunately, who are the Bills receivers? I gotta see Keon Coleman and these guys.
Shakir.
But Shakir, did he do anything? Well, actually, they didn't need him last week.
No, he had a couple big catches. He was also returning punts and kicks for them too.
I don't know. I don't trust if it gets into a shootout. I think Buffalo is not. They're not equipped for a high passing game unless they. It doesn't feel like say the Lions or the Chiefs. I'm curious how that receiving core would it. It was a story coming into the year. He has no targets, and it's been fine. Is there any point where you're nervous? Like, man, if I need a big downfield play, if we're trailing by 6 or something?
No, that part of the game does not make me nervous.
You don't feel like if it gets in, like they have to open it up and come from behind, that they'll be limited? I do. Like, I think they want to be ahead big time.
Well, that of course everyone wants to be ahead, but no, that part of it is not what bothers me more. It's the one and only concern that I have coming from the Buffalo side of this is stopping Derrick Henry and stopping the run. That's it. The offense, I don't worry about. Jeff is in Tucson, wants to talk about the weather in Buffalo. 51% chance of snow now. We know where this is going to go. 12 degrees, 5-mile-an-hour winds. Jeff, what do you have?
Good morning, Maggie. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
So I want to start by saying you guys made me laugh really hard when they threw in that whip of finally when you guys were talking about your marriage.
As my husband proposing.
Yeah, my sides hurt from that. So that was a good one. Secondly, I want to say that I think it's going to come down to the tight ends, James Cook, because in that kind of weather, you guys are suited, and that I feel that the tight ends are just as good with Buffalo versus Baltimore's. And then I got one trivia question. Want to talk about weather. Ryan Sipe throws interception in the end zone in a playoff game with the Raiders, and who was the person that intercepted that ball?
Wait, what?
Wait, Ryan Sipe?
The Browns quarterback?
The Browns quarterback?
Yep.
He threw an interception in a playoff game. Who intercepted it?
Yep, in the end zone. It was below zero. Ice. Don Crockrop could make an extra point.
I have no idea.
Who was it?
Yeah.
Well, so it's an AFC. Like, I can't think of. I was thinking
AFC.
Right. It's not Ronnie Lott because I'm trying to think of a defensive back from that era. Steve Atwater.
Yeah. Davis.
Oh, Davis.
Yep, Davis. And they went on to go to the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Yep. But talk about weather game. I wanted to share that because I was at that game.
Jeff, thank you so much for that. And, I kind of felt like vicariously you might have been pulling for Buffalo there. I don't know. You want to double check that Brian Sipe trivia question? I mean, he was at the game, so. I do not remember Sipe as a Raiders QB, though.
His Wikipedia page has Cleveland Browns, 1974 to 1983, New Jersey Generals, and the Jacksonville Bulls, who I think was actually, wasn't that part of the old HBO show, the Jacksonville Bulls? So I don't have that. And who's Davis?
Perloff goes, Davis, and looks at me with the shrug shoulders.
Wasn't Dale Davis power forward for the Pacers? No.
Hold on. Go to Pro Football Reference, not Wikipedia.
Big Baby Davis.
I think he's in jail right now.
In the Slammer.
I bet he's holding court. I bet he's a legend in jail. That's not something to brag about. Brian Sipe. Yeah, Cleveland, 10 years.
So, okay, no.
He's talking about against the Raiders.
Yeah. No, it was Mike Davis had the key interception. Yeah, he was he had the teams mixed up.
Yeah, right. Or maybe we did.
This sounds like, actually, I'm reading about it. Mark Davis, 25-year-old Raiders player, got the pick. Brian Sipe was the Browns quarterback at the time. It was the Raiders beat the Browns. So we just got, one of us, we crossed paths. But this seems like a famous game, actually. I don't know much about it. 81. There you go.
Talking about famous weather games, who can forget?
Yeah, it was 4 degrees at kickoff. And with a wind chill of -37, man, the NFL's got to build more domes. This is
yes, please.
I say that and people get all over me. Oh, Buffalo, Lambeau. You can't put domes on these places.
Surely the new Highmark Stadium in Buffalo will have a dome, right, Maggie?
You would be wrong about that, Manny.
Lambeau's different. Lambeau's,
What I don't understand about the dome thing is if it's a retractable roof, you can always just open the roof. Like, that's what I don't understand. Everything.
But you won't for a 12-degree.
No, but I mean, if you want to have if it's like the Chiefs game last year where it was super dangerous, okay, yes, you close. But this idea that because we have a retractable roof, it has to be we're no longer a cold weather team is ridiculous.
Yeah. How about this? Listen, I love fellow fans. I love Bills Mafia. I love all the crazy folks out there who love their teams. You don't have to take your shirt off when it's 11 degrees.
Oh, yes, you do. I totally disagree with that. By the way, they can't afford a retractable roof for Buffalo Stadium. It's the 31st largest market in the league. Like, those cost billions of dollars.
Oh, don't give me that with the billionaires that own these teams. I will not. Come on now.
Yeah, they make the owner of the Bills pay for
the revenue that all these franchises make, and they share it, by the way. Oh,
no, I saw.
Don't give me.
I don't think we're having a telethon for the Pagulas.
I saw the lawsuit yesterday. The Browns want to build this suburban stadium.
I saw that.
And they want 50-50 funding. They'll pay for 50% of it, and the public will pay for 50%. And they'll take 110% of the profits.
Without a doubt. But first, they'll hold the city hostage.
Yes.
And threaten to move to San Antonio or something. And do the same playbook that everyone does.
But they want to create this.
We almost had the New Jersey Sixers a couple of months ago. Remember? It was Camden move.
That's kind of part of Philadelphia. But the thing about the Cleveland, they want to build, have Foxborough, Maggie, where the Patriots play? They have that little mall outside. Yeah. They want to do that in Cleveland. There's some sense to that.
And you want to know what it's actually really about? A mall's one thing. Casino.
Oh, is that what? Oh, like Steve Cohen?
Exactly.
Is that what is it literally what Jimmy Haslam wants to do? It sounds like him.
I just think all roads now lead to a stadium casino sort of buffet.
These owners, they have enough money, Manny. Stop backing the owners.
Yeah, you'll find me doing that.
Sorry, I don't know why. I just happened to look at you and call you. I know how Maggie feels about owners.
I've been telling you guys for years.
Not a fan.
No. Not a fan. And for things like this.
I mean, she'll put up with some fracking if it gets the Bills a Super Bowl title. Don't get it wrong.
The worst. 855-212-4227. Here's a question for you about the national championship game. If Ohio State loses, is Ryan Day back on the hot seat? If he ever was on the hot seat. Well, they're going to get into that in just a moment. Plus, could we be watching the end of Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame? If they win, is he gone to the NFL? So much to get to.
The end of Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, by the way. The way you said that, are we watching the end of Marcus Freeman?
No, I think he's in good health.
At Notre Dame. Gotcha. Whew. Okay, good.
Oh. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. I was actually painting this scenario earlier. After Ryan Day cost me another bet because he refused to pass the ball to Jeremiah Smith, I said, I don't care if they win the national title. They should fire him anyway.
Yeah, you did
in Ohio State. Just to open up that offense, I was reading a preview of the game, and the idea was that Ryan Day will not expose Will Howard to interceptions and might play conservatively again against Notre Dame, even though that was the exact problem that killed them against Michigan. He's driving me nuts with this offense right now, Maggie, because he has this incredible offense at Ohio State, and sometimes it's like he doesn't want to use it.
Well, the other part is Notre Dame going to play man defense? Like, that's kind of what it looks like they do. So are you going to actually leave Jeremiah Smith and Ibuka? Are you going to leave them to be covered one-on-one? I have no idea. That doesn't seem like a good recipe for the Irish. But
but two-man on Smith, I would. But you're right. It's a good question.
It's right. I don't know how they're going to play this in terms of defense for the Irish. But my question about Ryan Day, like, to me, he's playing with so much more pressure than Marcus Freeman. I think Notre Dame fans are just happy to get back to the title game.
Right.
Shoved it down Brian Kelly's throat. You know, clearly they are a destination. They've been winning despite all these injuries. They've been overcoming them. Like, everything is arrow up for Notre Dame. For Ohio State, if you win this game, okay, now you're just where you were supposed to be. which is winning the national title. If you lose it, this season will be defined by the Michigan loss.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's so wildly unfair, but who am I to tell Ohio State fans how to feel? This is how they feel about that rivalry and about that game. And the only way that Ryan Day can erase the memory of the nightmare of losing to Michigan is by winning this game on Monday.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they're heavy favorites too, so that plays into it. It would be a huge disappointment if they lost. Remember we came into this year and we looked at Ohio State's roster, and it seemed like, I remember saying, like, God, everyone else is playing for number 2. Now, somehow they were ranked behind Georgia, which I didn't understand. But still, their roster, like, they're never going to have a roster like this because they've always had ridiculous offense. But now they have all these older defensive players. Like, this is the year.
Yeah, guys came back.
If he can't do it this year, I don't know when he's going to do it.
855-212-4227. So that's one part of this matchup from the coaching side, the Ryan Day side of it. The Marcus Freeman side of it, I think some of this NFL buzz is obviously got to be legit.
Oh, sure.
And if I'm a college coach and I have any kind of success at the college level, I will always go and try the NFL. And the reason why I'll do that is because it will not hurt me at all. If I fail in the NFL, I can just go back to college. I can pick up where I left off. And obviously, Nick Saban is the number one example of that, the best it could possibly work. So I will always try the NFL, even if I know I'm getting hired to get fired. I will always try to go for that paycheck, cash in. Marcus Freeman, win the title, go coach the Bears. If it doesn't work out, you get to land at an SEC school or whatever when you decide to go back to college. There's just no risk.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Go coach the Bears. The way you said that, it's like, that's your offer? I don't know. That feels like a very tough job. Maybe we should have Caleb Williams. I don't know.
Your stock, your leverage, never going to be higher.
That doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, but does he? I think the real threat for him is Ohio State. Not, I would hold out to that job. Go back to my alma mater. But I don't know. It just feels like a crazy career move to leave Notre Dame, which you're building into a perennial contender, to go to a job in the Bears or the Jags or whatever job, which is just pinned into the top of the draft every year and just can't get the act together, has these meddling owners. I feel like he's got a great situation. Would you really leave this for a flawed situation?
Yeah, for $10 million a year.
So he can't spend the money he's going to make in Notre Dame in 10 lifetimes. He's fine. There's no money. Money can't be a factor here. I mean, what's he spending his money on in South Bend?
He's got like 6 kids or something. I don't know. Also, it's not Jimbo Fisher money, as far as I know.
Well, I mean, I don't think money's going to be a problem for him.
I'm just saying, I would cash in because I know it doesn't hurt you coming back to college. He could go, we're talking about Marcus Freeman, from Notre Dame to the Chicago Bears to Ohio State. Like, that's not out of the question. He could go take a detour to the Bears. Ryan Day loses 2 more times to Michigan. Yeah. He's out, and now Marcus Freeman is in.
Yeah, but he could, if the goal is to get to Ohio State, he could just go there. By the way, I'm not sure the NFL guys, like, yes, some of them might get higher contracts, but the lifespan is much shorter in the NFL. So over the course of a career, like, the college guys make tons of money, and there's also hidden money all over the place. I don't think money's a huge factor. What do the Bears offer him?
I think if you have the leverage, like, how much do you think Ben Johnson, who has not been a head coach for 1 second on any level, is one of the hottest coordinators now?
Right.
How much money do you think he's getting?
Ben Johnson is the hottest candidate in years. I mean, like, he's probably getting 15 to 20.
That's not bad.
I think 31 teams would take Ben Johnson over Marcus Freeman because, like, Ben Johnson, he invented the stumble play. Like, the guy's he's on fire right now.
The stumble bum.
Ben
That's
Johnson
what propelled him to the top.
Ben Johnson is different. I mean, I just think the fact that he kind of left himself out of last year's hiring cycle made him even more attractive.
Which, by the way, we don't talk about this very much. Was that a mistake? You could have Jaden Daniels. The Commanders are in the playoffs. They're in the second round. Dan Quinn has a resurgence now. Cliff Kingsbury could get hired this cycle. Did he make a mistake there? This ownership group is obviously leaps and bounds better than Dan Snyder. You got Magic Johnson back there high-fiving you after a big win over the Bucs. Like, he might have blew an opportunity for a sleeping giant of a franchise.
That's interesting. So the Commanders go 10-7, and all of a sudden they're the 2001 Patriots. Is that what's happening here? Because as an Eagles fan, I'll tell you that's a load of crap. We'll see where they go because I have Josh Harris running my basketball team. We'll see where it goes. And yeah, just because Magic won a World Series title doesn't mean Magic's doing anything here. But I don't know.
Magic's got a pretty good track record.
Magic?
Yeah. Yes.
There's nothing. So you're telling me, okay, Ben Johnson, when he should have said, wow, Magic is there in Washington. He's not doing anything for the Commanders. He's not picking any players. Like, it's not Tom Brady with the Raiders. Like, that is not a reason to go to the Commanders.
I'm just saying, it seems like Magic backs more winners than losers. The guy's a billionaire, and he was a winner as a player. He's a billionaire. All right, didn't work out when he was coaching or the GM of the Lakers. Win some, lose some. Now he's in on the Dodgers, on the Commanders.
I have newsflash. The Dodgers are not winning because Magic Johnson is part of the team. They're winning because they spend 10 times the amount of every other team in baseball.
Exactly. That's fine. I never said that Magic was down scouting, Texas and Vanderbilt pitching staffs. I'm just saying.
That is not a factor why Ben Johnson should have gone to Washington.
No, he should have gone there because of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I hear you. But he's Ben Johnson. He's genius.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I mean, he's like Kyle Shanahan coming out of Washington and Houston. Like
Kyle Shanahan's dad won 2 Super Bowls. Even that was never a guarantee. He's Ben Johnson.
I mean, maybe I don't know. I just think that it seems like I think teams think the same way. Like this is going to work. I mean, I think teams would be surprised if he was Adam Gase.
I don't think he's Bill Walsh.
But I think we were all surprised Adam Gase became Adam Gase, right? Like, that's the point.
Even Adam Gase.
Well, no, but
he's on a milk
what
carton
has happened to me?
Yeah.
Look at my eyes.
Like, I think we all thought Adam Gase was going to be a great head coach.
No, but I don't think every vacancy was like, man, I pray I can get Adam Gase. Like, everybody wants Ben Johnson. You have to admit the market seems way different.
I know, but it's
Ben
all
Johnson
these teams.
might be the highest paid coach in the NFL.
But it's all these teams that are also picking head coaches every 2 years. They all want him because they're desperate.
That Miami job Gase got was coveted. Like, he got that because of what he did with Denver. Like, I think he was a very highly coveted coordinator.
We had Peyton Manning calling around for him.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's how he got the Jets job.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson may be kind of like Ben Johnson is white hot. I get it. I'm just saying, like, I think that's the point, that you could have these play callers who we all think is great, and then they go somewhere. You mentioned the guy yesterday, Cam Cameron. We forget how hot name he was. He was calling all those LaDainian Tomlinson runs. The Chargers were putting up all those points. Then he went to Miami, won 1 game, and then you never heard from him again.
Well, I mean, I'm curious how the market plays out. Like, where was Adam Gase? How much did he make on his first job compared to what Ben Johnson makes? And the market's the supply and demand. Like, we'll find out. Maybe Ben Johnson doesn't get that much money, but if there's, if he's getting multiple offers over $15 million, just clearly he's in demand. And watch the Lions play. Just watch it for 5 minutes. Dan Campbell isn't calling those plays. That's Ben Johnson.
I get it. No, but the thing is, he doesn't get to bring the Lions offense with him to the next stop.
But I mean, that there's a question like, what is it? The Lions offense isn't even. They have a highly touted right tackle. I mean, they have a 4th round wide receiver. They have a journeyman quarterback. Like he and Campbell turned that into something. It's not like they're overwhelming with talent.
I know, but you always say whose GM is on more of a heater than Brad Holmes at Detroit. You love talking about how great he is and finding all these guys. And so it's a combo. Like, Ben Johnson's not going to have as good a general manager the next place he goes. He's not going to walk into a place with a good offensive line, most likely.
I'm telling you, I'm with the NFL right now. I think you guys are going against the grain to think Ben Johnson's not in heavy, heavy demand.
Oh, I know he's in demand. I'm just not saying he's going to be a success. He's definitely in demand. Of course that. I get.
Like, he's more in demand than Marcus Freeman, for example. Like, Ben Johnson is the guy right now.
I just don't think that correlates to him being the next, like, awesome head coach in the NFL. He could just as easily go to the dustbin and be back as a coordinator, or maybe the second time around is his real, success. Like, we see that all the time.
I'll take Ben Johnson tomorrow instead of Nick Sirianni.
Well, you take a lot.
Also, all the stories about Ben Johnson behind the scenes are incredible. Like, the guy is supposed to be like a real dude. I mean, not Adam Gase
saving kittens. What do you mean?
Like, just like he's hyper competitive. Like, the players love him. He's like a mini Dan Campbell with a mind.
And you never get the bad stories until after.
Right.
I mean, you guys think Adam Gase was that hot after working? And I don't remember. Like, I don't think he was like that.
I think it's more.
Ben Johnson's literally could probably be the 2nd or 3rd highest paid coach in the NFL. Adam Gase, there's no way that was happening.
I think there's always a Ben Johnson.
Yep.
He's done a good job of making people want him more by not taking a job last year.
Right.
But there's always a Ben Johnson.
Like
every
who?
cycle.
Like, name other ones.
I think Cam Cameron.
I think Shane Steichen.
I think I named one.
No. Shane Steichen? No way.
Took the Eagles to the Super Bowl, was credited for turning the Eagles around.
It wasn't like a feeding frenzy around Shane Steichen when he got into the market.
No, but if he had stayed with the Eagles and if they had gone to another NFC Championship game, then there would have been.
I don't know. I've also Shane Steichen is so low key. I don't.
Josh McDaniels.
McDaniels had a little bit of that going. Yeah.
DeMeco Ryans was definitely wanted coming off the Niners staff. The Texans didn't go out on a limb and hire him. Okay. Ben Johnson's on back-to-back cycles, which I think is helping his cause.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Kevin O'Connell was only interviewed for the Vikings job.
Kevin O'Connell was not.
I'm literally looking at a list of new coaching hires just to remember our names.
You know, I think you're right. Like the fact that Ben Johnson, like people want the guy who says no. Like that's the most. Like if you want to attract a partner, just say no to that person a couple times. They're like, "Ooh, I want that guy."
You can't look desperate.
Yeah.
That's a stinky.
The
cologne.
best way for any third graders listening to get a girl to like you is pretend you don't like her.
Well, it's honestly, I think one of the things that hurt Belichick.
Yes, he looked
of
thirsty.
all people, the fact that he called the Jets was the worst news item to leak out about Bill Belichick since we all found out his girlfriend was 24. And actually, I don't even think that hurt him as much. The fact that he would actually want to go work for the Jets and Woody Johnson, who he will never, ever miss an opportunity to clown, that made him look so desperate.
Can I ask a tangent, but very interesting trivia question about Adam Gase and the Dolphins, because it's very fascinating about what we're talking about. Who was the head coach that he replaced?
Head coach, was it interim guy or full time?
Interim head coach.
So like Sperano or Philbin or somebody? I can't even remember.
Philbin sounds about right.
Dan Campbell.
Oh, Dan Campbell.
That's funny.
Imagine had the Dolphins.
You had Dan Campbell in the building.
Dan Campbell, yeah.
So did the Saints, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That is crazy to me. We're comparing Gase and Ben Johnson, and the guy that he replaced for his first job was Dan Campbell.
Actually, I think Ben Johnson was on that staff too.
I think he was.
Yeah.
Let me just add one other thing, Perloff. Maybe not specific guys, but 2 to 3 years ago, we were all salivating over anyone that Sean McVay knew, which is O'Connell and which is Brandon Staley and Zach Taylor. All those guys got love because they knew Sean McVay. They were in a meeting with McVay. They were on a staff with McVay. Everyone wanted Sean McVay, the next Sean McVay.
I think they still do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Staley's the only one of those that really flamed out.
But it's all started with, like, everybody who was with Walsh, right? Like, we all wanted Mike Holmgren. We all wanted Steve Mariucci. Like, it was like, that started from there. Like, find the offensive guru, anybody that worked with him, their Teflon. And then because Walsh's guys all became really good, like, I think everyone's been copycatting since then.
Right, but see, Ben Johnson doesn't really have that guy.
That's true.
Yeah, so that he's a little different. I think who's Ben Johnson? He does have a guru. I forget who it is. It's not any of the guy. It's not Dan Campbell. He has a coaching guru. Anyway, go ahead with the headlines.
I think we were arguing last hour that something didn't happen if there's no video. I've got video and audio of something that did happen or didn't happen last night.
John, the late game situation. That won't count, but we love it. My goodness.
Ja doing what Pearl could never do, dunking over and through Wemby last night. But there was a whistle before he drove, so that dunk did not technically happen. Morant otherwise scored 21 points with 12 assists in a 129-115 win in San Antonio.
When bust Jama?
There's got to be like a file that we've got to be keeping of like the all-time great plays that didn't count. There's been a couple catches like that in the NFL.
Yeah. And like Wemby was playing legit defense, so it wasn't even like he relaxed because he heard the whistle. Like he was.
Yeah, he went up for the block.
Yeah, and they were like chest to chest, and Ja threw it over him. It was nuts.
What do you do with that play? It's an amazing play. It's a poster, but it didn't count.
I mean, I'm expecting Ja to repeat this very soon. Now that he didn't count, like I think that this is going to happen in real time.
When do they play again? I'm going to look it up.
This is going to happen.
Could you clear the court? Like the other 8 guys just step aside, let them go one-on-one.
They should do that at All-Star.
The first possession of that game.
No, All-Star game. They should just do 5 or 6 chances. Just who gets it.
Oh, I can't wait for somebody to tear their labrum because of Maggie's idea.
Manny, how can you think of anyone's health at a time like this?
I would say the dunk contest.
The Celtics are struggling by Celtics standards, losers of 3 of their last 5 after a 110-97 loss in Toronto. Jason Tatum said postgame they're going through some bleep right now, with Kristaps Porzingis adding this.
Weak performance from us, honestly, so we just play with no personality.
They had also...
They play tomorrow.
Do they really?
Yes. Spurs and Memphis play tomorrow.
Run this back.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The Clippers demolished the Nets last night, 126-67, simultaneously the largest win and loss in their respective histories. The Lakers broke out of a 3-game slump, 117-108 over Miami, and the Warriors hung on for a 116-115 win in Minnesota, with Steph Curry scoring 31. Bill Belichick is still North Carolina's coach, and he reportedly hired 2 assistants yesterday, longtime NFL special teams coordinator Mike Prefer and veteran O-line coach from the college ranks, Will Friend. On the flip side, Tar Heels QB Jacoby Criswell is in the transfer portal. He finished this past season as their starter, throwing for almost 2,500 yards and 15 scores while running for 3 more.
Man, does this mean Belichick's like putting down roots a little bit more?
Does he have a quarterback?
He didn't have anything, right?
I mean,
Brian Hoyer available?
He's got the Patriot League, first team all conference center. That's about it.
The Holy
Everyone
Cross.
knows that Holy Cross puts out the best centers.
Jim Harbaugh will undergo a heart ablation and a hip replacement soon this offseason. The cardiac procedure will address the issue that forced him to miss part of a Week 6 game. And Packers D coordinator Jeff Hafley is the newest person the Jets want to interview for their head coaching job. And let's finish with the reason I'm on just 4 hours of sleep and full of self-loathing this morning.
Oh, you woke up and saw yourself in the mirror?
It was Fordham and UMass celebrating the 100th anniversary of Fordham's Rose Hill Gym, the oldest regularly used gym in D1 basketball. The Rams and Minutemen needed 3 overtimes to figure things out last night.
Here comes Medor. Medor drives with 3. Medor fades. Short. Tipped up. That's it. That's the game. UMass wins it. 120-118 in triple overtime.
That's Mike Watts on ESPN+. This game took roughly 3 hours and 45 minutes to play. UMass surviving behind 46 points from Rasul Diggins. That matches the highest scoring performance in the gym's history. It breaks the record for an opposing player, which was held by fellow UMass product Dr. J. The teams combined for 122 free throws, the most in a D1 game since 96-97. 9 guys fouled out.
Oh, my God.
I can't tell if I'm happy or sad that I missed this game. 122 free throws.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was ridiculous.
That's dumb.
That's not a good basketball game.
No.
I can't believe you weren't there. I'm a little surprised. That game took longer than likely the Bills-Ravens game we'll take on Sunday. That's crazy.
I mean, I was joking. The Fordham women played a game in Philadelphia last night. They probably got back to campus before the men's game ended. But yeah, I was not there last night. I wasn't working to begin with. I have had a dicey week health-wise and was like, I should just go to sleep. And instead, I was up till 11:30 being angry after a 3 overtime loss.
That's crazy.
I know somebody else who was in Philadelphia last night and won a basketball game.
I don't think Jalen Brunson has a lot in common with anyone from Fordham.
I think we say Pat Boyle. Boyle was in attendance at that Knick game.
He did a lot, too. Big help.
Is Pat Boyle going to our famous Notre Dame friend? Is he going to the national title game?
He should.
No
Did you
idea.
see the walk-in price, though? The get-in price right now?
I did see something of it.
It's like $1,900.
Wow.
I
Get in
have
right
dementia.
And you'll have no money left to treat it.
Hey-o.
Well, that's why he's trying to have as many kids as possible. If you remember the Boyle theory,
I do.
That if one of them, there's a lot of them, I'd say one will be successful and could fund his life-ending dementia.
I don't wear women's perfume.
I don't think those odds are right.
They're not.
I think he's way better at math than I am. We know that because he and Perloff both took the SAT questions once upon a time. I don't think that's the right odds.
I also don't think many kids go back and give their delinquent fathers money
Thanks, you deadbeat.
Yeah, great to finally
Here's a
meet you,
house.
Paps.
I'll tell you, the key if you want to, and this is for all you prospective fathers here,
Manny?
you want to get taken care of, have girls. These guys are not going to be there for you. Sorry. That's like the fact. I've heard that so many times. Like, daughters take care of older parents. Men are nowhere to be seen.
Okay,
I don't know if that cliche is true, but I think it could be true.
I'll put that in my cart. Have a girl. Like, what? Can't really control that, bro.
Well, be like Pat Boyle. Take a lot of options here.
Yeah.
You got
Big nut guy.
There are enough kids. Some of them are going to be girls. Manny, you'd be a great girl dad.
I'd be an awful father. Can't wait for it.
Kids laying in filth, starving. The Knicks are on. Yeah. There's overtime in Philly. Shut up.
It's like, we're going to it early. The Knicks are on. It's like, it's a noon game.
Who needs food? Brunson's going for 40.
Eat that.
I feel so bad for your kids. They're going to be indoctrinated with Knicks stuff from 6 months. They're going to have to know like the starting rotation.
Yeah, damn right.
I feel so bad.
No, Legos unless you know Lee Nylon's
Maggie, I have a question for you.
Stat line.
Have you forced your son to be a Bills fan? Is that part of the contract?
So I swore I would not do this, right?
Right.
Because I'm like, I don't want to do this to my kid, you know, especially with like such a tortured franchise like Buffalo.
Yeah.
You know, if it was like the Yankees or something, maybe I'd feel a little better about it. But like, I can't do this to him. I've completely reversed course on it. Completely.
What?
Has he accepted though? Is he bought in?
I mean, he named one of his stuffed animals Josh.
That's a
so
start.
He's
That's
in.
a start.
It's a start.
Yeah, he's in then.
I mean, I bought him an Ed Oliver jersey. I mean, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
And my dad went 1 for 4 with his kids, trying to get them to root for his teams. I'm the only one.
I swore I wouldn't do it, and then all of a sudden, you know, the Bills got good, and I was like, all right, I'm doing it.
Yeah. How could you not?
If you guys ever been to my house, there's more Eagles gear than like half the house is green. My kids don't like the Eagles at all. They could care less. My daughter is officially a Knicks fan because I took her to a game.
Well, you took her to a game. You got to sit courtside. What do you think she's going to be?
But and also too in the neighborhood, I gotta tell you, a lot of the young kids are Chiefs fans. Like a lot of them, and some Josh Allen fans too. Like none of them are New York fans. So I think like
I mean, fair.
A lot of 5-year-olds, you know, if you're a 5-year-old, go for the winner. And I guess the Bills are winning now. All I can say is when you guys have kids, the Knicks better be good because otherwise they're in for terrible childhoods.
They will be force-fed the Knicks.
Yes.
Manny, we found out yesterday that your dad named 2 of his sons Carlos.
That's right, yes.
Are you going to go Manny Jr.?
No, I'll
3
probably
Jalen's.
Yeah, I'll probably go Jalen, Josh, and Carl.
Not Carl Anthony?
No, just Carl.
Okay.
I'll let Kat have Carl Anthony, and then my dogs are going to be named Ewing and Clyde.
Good job by Kat, by the way, wearing an Eagles jersey or sweatshirt last night.
Hey, listen, man.
That's great judgment.
As long as they're getting W's, he could wear whatever he wants.
You know,
Jalen
after
too.
last night, Precious had a good game, right?
Oh, Precious.
That's a good name.
Precious Achua.
Yeah. Boy or a girl would be good.
There's a couple fan things that happened yesterday. 855-212-4227. We also have a major question has to be answered before the divisional round kicks off. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So excited that on Friday, that's the big move. Channel 375 on Sirius XM. Perloff, we were trying to figure out how can our audience remember this. Babe Ruth's number, John Elway's number, and then we had a couple options for 5. I thought maybe Reggie Bush at USC, so we can kind of do a East Coast, Midwest, and then West Coast.
I mean, Reggie Bush at USC is the most entertaining player of my lifetime, maybe.
But there's a lot of good 5s out there. So
Yeah.
375, Babe Ruth, John Elway, Reggie Bush. That's how you remember where we're going to Sirius XM, and that happens on Friday. This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Again,
So-
Friday.
I'm going to make mine Philadelphia-ish. So I have 3 is Allen Iverson, 7 is Ron Jaworski. Why am I missing a 5? Who is the number 5 in Philadelphia? If you name this off the top of your head, I'd be blown away. 5 is a tricky one.
Eric Snow. I have no
There
idea.
are like number 5 is not an easy number as 3 or 7 when you do great numbers.
Jason Kidd was 5 is my first basketball
Yeah,
one
but
that
I
go
looked
to.
at a list of all-time greatest athlete by jersey number, and the 5 was the weakest of the top 10 by far. Like KG was like number 5. Like the other ones
Joe
were like
DiMaggio.
Yeah, DiMaggio.
It's not week at all.
No, but like the rundown, like
I just didn't want to make it all Yankees.
You had you went like 40 Hall of Famers deep at most of them. Number 5 is not the same. I'm telling you, it was 7, a lot of guys. 3, a lot of guys. 5 is tougher.
Next great debate. Who was the best number 5?
Well, it's not a debate because there's only one like super mega Mount Rushmore guy. That's my take. There's no Philly guys. Yeah. Eric Snow, I'm looking up his number now.
I have no idea. Just couldn't think of Aaron McKee fast enough. So here's a tweet that got sent out yesterday from Vinny Bonsignor, who covers the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review Journal. So reputable. Guy's been covering the team for a long time. Tweet now has 1.8 million views. A lot of momentum building for Ben Johnson and the Raiders. This is the Tom Brady effect in full effect. Because the Raiders, for a guy listen, we can argue about whether we think Ben Johnson is going to be a head coach, Perloff. No matter what, you're right. He's the top of the heap in terms of coaching candidates right now. And the Raiders, outside of the mystique and allure of their history, they have no quarterback right now. Mm-hmm. Their roster is not deep. The front office is not well regarded. The owner is not thought highly of. The city's awesome. The history of the Raiders is great. You get to be a renegade, sort of. This has to be Tom Brady's impact. I can't think of what else it would be.
Well, yes. I tell you, the stadium is dope, by the way. But one thing, they did make Gruden was the highest paid coach in the league when the Raiders hired him, which is weird. He hasn't taken this job. The report is like they made him a massive offer, right?
He said momentum. I mean,
oh yeah, Florio said that they already put together like the most lucrative offer in the cycle. So
you think it's a money thing, not a Tom Brady thing?
Oh, it's definitely a Tom Brady thing. Like, there's no doubt. We've argued about whether he'll leave broadcasting. There is no doubt he's running the Raiders.
Exactly.
Tom Pelissero. Yeah, no, I'm not arguing that at all. Pelissero said on Rich Eisen, he's like, this is the Tom Brady show from start to finish. But, and then there's this thing like Brady's getting to call the game and he's watching, it seems like an unfair advantage. He gets to watch Ben Johnson up close.
And Aaron Glenn. I don't know if is he also a candidate.
But I don't get it. Like, I feel like it's tough. Why do you want to be with Sean Payton, Andy Reid, and Jim Harbaugh in the AFC West when you're the Raiders? Like, if he's realistic about this, the one thing is I think being indoors would be a nice bonus because Chicago, it's hard to get a consistent passing game in the Windy City. And Jacksonville, I don't know. What's the rain like?
What about Jerry's World? I mean, I don't know if Ben Johnson is going to be a candidate there. They haven't put in a formal interview request yet.
Jerry's World would be good too. Yeah, like I would take Jerry's World over the Raiders because you have a quarterback. The Raiders is an odd choice.
It's crazy to me because on paper, outside of, the stadium, I guess, like outside of that, they have the fewest amount of there's the least amount of infrastructure.
Yeah, but one thing, that means you have the least amount of anchors on the team. Like you probably don't have a lot of guys eating up cap space. You can build your own team from scratch, bring in your own GM.
It's true. This show flew by. Thank you to Jay Stewart, Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedos, Coffee Drinkers. You guys are the best. We will see you tomorrow. We'll have picks for you for not only the divisional round, but also Monday's national championship game and a whole lot more. Later.